Hey there, you're listening to You Still Going On About That with Rob Israel and Joseph K. You can find us anywhere you could download podcasts. You could also find us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at YSGOAT. Thanks for listening. I'm Rob Israel.
I'm Joseph K.
You still going on about
that?
All right, Joseph. It is February 22nd.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, tomorrow's going to be, in an hour or two, it'll be 2/23/23.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
What if it was 23/23/23?
That's right. That would be...
That'd be nuts.
That would be. Yeah. So
I wonder if something cool's going to happen tomorrow.
I don't know. I don't think so. Yeah.
You know what? You mean a bunch of arbitrary numbers really don't mean shit?
See if the new Q drop is scheduled for.
yeah, I can't wait for my JFK Jr. is coming back again.
Yeah.
And again.
Yeah. Does Q do anything anymore? Does he or she or whatever? Are there any?
I think there was like one Q drop, so there were no Q drops after Trump lost in 2020. Big shock. At all. And then like one day in like late 2021 or 2022, there was like a random Q drop, I think. And then I don't know. I don't really pay attention to that stuff because I'm not
me neither, but
fucking lunatic.
Those people have to really feel terrible though.
I don't even know, like the whole Q thing's kind of funny because it's kind of like branched off and now there's like multiple Qs. It's kind of funny. It's like it's like Christianity or something. It's like there's all these different sects of like Christianity, it's like
or it's like Pink Floyd, like how there's different touring acts of Pink Floyd. Like
you got one who's like a weird pro-Russia.
Yeah.
Is he an anti-vaxxer too, Roger Waters?
I don't know.
But he's like a total Putin lover. He's like, he claims he's anti-war. See, okay, before we get into everything, let's talk about this real quick. We're going to talk about this later anyway when Biden. You cannot, if you are anti-Ukraine defending itself against a imperial aggressor, you can't claim you're anti-war.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any, it's not like Russia just went up to him and asked him nicely and Ukraine's like started throwing missiles at them or something.
Yeah, I mean, this seems real clear cut to me.
It's like if Russia, this is an equal footing, it's like, oh, why can't we just come together and have a talk? It's like, no, like Russia wants to take over the Ukraine.
Right.
I don't know how do you, there's really no diplomacy here. It's like,
these are the same people that on the playground would stand off to the side and say, like, well, why are you hitting yourself? Like, why?
I mean, I would say that, like,
I
truly believe that the people who claim they're anti-war or Ukraine defending stuff, these are the same people who would probably have been like pro-Iraq war 20 years ago.
Yeah.
But I just find it weird. The Roger Waters thing I find really bizarre.
That's sad. Yeah.
I mean, I don't get it. It's like I think you're disassociating what's going on. I don't know. All right, well, let's talk about, what do we got to talk about this week?
Talk about Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Quantum Mania.
Yeah. And we're talking about the latest episode of Last of Us.
Yep.
Biden's trip to the Ukraine.
Yep.
The return of Trump water.
Yep. Trump visited Palestine, Ohio for some.
Oh yeah, there's also a train derailment there, but the story,
right,
is Trump's
water.
Trump water. Yeah.
Bottles of water that they took the labels off of Costco or Club Waters and put a Trump label on it.
Yes.
The interns had a lot of bottles to put labels on.
We're going to talk about the Fox Dominion stuff, and just some Fox News stuff in general. There's actually a couple different related stories there.
Okay.
We're talking about the my favorite new soon to be SNL character Emily Kors, the jury forewoman. She is a delight.
Yeah. It's great when you watch something and you're like, oh, that's an SNL character.
Well, I'll cut her some slack. When we talk about her, I have maybe a little more sympathetic view of her than most.
And it's like how reality has it's gotten to the point where it's just like SNL doesn't even have to create characters anymore. They just have to one will just make itself.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think if anyone were to think of I don't know, 10 people they know, not 10 friends, just 10 people they know, whether it's, the mailman or the cashier or a mom at the school or 10 people, and now pick one of them at random and put them on a jury. There's probably plenty of people like Emily Kors out there, to be perfectly honest.
Let's say that when we talk about Emily.
Yes. Yeah. And we're talking about the Marjorie Taylor Greene national divorce thing, which is kind of, I guess, she's currently in the midst of a divorce, I guess, and so it's on her mind, and she's like, you know what? I want everyone to divorce.
She's calling for basically a civil war.
Yeah, well, she really is.
A real normal thing for a sitting congressperson to go tweet and on major news outlets to discuss as if it's a normal thing to talk about.
It is weird, and
this is a person who's on Homeland Security committees, and it's great. It's great. We live in a great country. It's great that we allowed someone who I truly believe is a puppet of a foreign adversary.
It's weird to see someone so hostile to the majority of people, and also so dumb, and also so powerful. Honestly, I mean, it's a weird mix of things. We're gonna talk about
and also hideous.
Yeah, she is.
She just looks she really does look like a chimp. That's you think they're smiling, but it's they're gonna rip your face off. Showing aggression when they show their teeth.
Yeah,
people think chimps are smiling, and it's the opposite.
Right? Yeah, it's not. That's a common mistake. Is baring your teeth is not considered good in any other species, but humans, you're supposed to smile and show your teeth. All other species, that freaks them out a little bit. We're talking about the Kyle Rittenhouse lawsuit.
Yep.
We're talking about TikTok chefs.
Yep.
And we're going to finish with Meta, the Facebook company, rolling out or considering rolling out a paid version.
Because the Twitter Blue is such a massive success, and they were oh wow, everyone seems to love that. Let's follow through. Everyone seems to be.
I'll tell you, it is. Anytime I see a shitty opinion, it's a Twitter Blue guy. I mean, reliably, I've. Yeah. Well, anyway, so that's
you're right. I mean, it is usually 90% now. It's a blue check mark that is paid for.
Well, yeah, because I have been commenting on Ron DeSantis's posts lately, and he doesn't do a lot of them anymore. He does maybe one or two a day.
He got called Meatball Ron.
He's really butthurt over it. But every time he posts, I take a photograph of him and replace his head with a meatball, and then that's my response. And back in the day, if I had a post with a picture in it, it was reliably seen by thousands of people, maybe not commented on or liked or whatever, but you could see a lot of people saw it. I did one the other day. I was one of the first people to respond to Meatball Ron, and I think I looked earlier, 8 people have seen it. No, I have him when in my search bar, if I just tap R, he's the first one who pops up.
Okay.
So anyway, 5 or 6 people have seen my post, but all the blue paid checkmark people, they're big pro Meatball Ron stuff.
Yeah,
they're tons of engagement way up at the top. So Twitter Blue is doing what it's supposed to be doing. It's throttling non-paid users and promoting paid users.
I don't notice a difference, honestly.
I do. I mean,
I don't notice any fucking difference. I've always had tweets that like I have a tweet that does like incredibly well out of nowhere, and then I'll do like hundreds of tweets that get like maybe 10 to 20, 50 likes. Honestly, I've probably been doing better. I've been tweeting less, and I've been getting tweets that I've gotten like on average 100, which never happens for me. But like, I don't notice a difference. At least I don't, or I don't know, maybe I'm just putting out really awesome content that just
I will say some of my stuff does just fine, but most of it, like,
you might be just muted by Ron DeSantis' account.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah,
I just assume that anytime I respond to like Bober or any of them, my stuff would get seen, and now it doesn't. And like I'm not blocked, but I'm probably muted. Or I get sent down to like the bottom so no one sees it. And that's probably it. They probably just have your account muted.
Yeah, that could be.
Whoever runs his account's just muting it. Going through. They're not blocking people because supposedly they're not supposed to be doing that.
They're not supposed to be doing that.
But there's nothing to say they can't mute you.
No, it's true.
So I don't know. And again, it could be Twitter Blue too. All right, so let's talk about something fun.
Yeah.
Ant-Man and the Wasp. She was 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Quantumania. So what do you think of it, Joseph?
I thought
the worst fucking movie ever made. Oh, I hated it so much. Oh,
it was so strange when Scott proposed a vaccine to cure the quantum verse mania, and
all those blue-haired check marks.
And the Wasp character just went on a 20-minute anti-vax diatribe. I thought that was a little jarring.
Yeah, that was weird. Robert Kennedy showed up in his weird little voice
as the Wasp's new love interest.
And, weird.
Here's what I think, and I liked it a whole bunch. Probably one of my top, like if I were to cut the Marvel movies in half, this would be on the top half of that list. I don't know where it's full.
I must feel like a lot. It's funny. I see all these people like shitting on it, and some people are just shitting on it like based on like they think it's like bad writing, and I'm like, yeah, you read a fucking comic book. There's like stuff here that's clearly setting up other shit. So one of the big things I saw a lot of people complaining about this is that Janet Van Dyne all of a sudden is like, I can't tell you about what's bad about the quantum Michelle Pfeiffer character.
Right.
Who was lost in the quantum zone for like 30 years. They saved her in the last movie and in the Ant-Man and the Wasp, second one. And she's out of nowhere. It's like, you can't go there. She won't mention the guy's name. She was like, no, like, what are you doing? You sent a signal to the quantum verse. There's all this like, and there's a theory. So we're going to spoil this movie. We're not talking about it in any order. So if you saw the movie, you'll know what we're talking about. So if you don't want to hear about it, I don't know, skip like 15 minutes. We'll probably talk about this for like 15, 20 minutes. So just fast forward if you don't want to hear any spoilers.
Right.
But all right. 1, 2. All right. So she all of a sudden is like, what are you doing? You can't go there. It's really bad. There's this guy down there. He's fucking evil. So the rumor going around is, so Kang is the big villain of the movie.
Yes.
It's the Jonathan Majors guy. We got to see him, a variant of him in the end of Loki, where he played the
He Who Remains.
Mm-hmm. Now, the plot, the theory going around is that the only reason why we even had Kang in this movie, and that, so basically Janet Van Dyne, that's a new memory. Her remembering Kang.
Right.
When they rescued her in the Quantumverse in the second movie, there was no Kang.
Right.
There's no Kang at all.
No one ever mentioned it.
Because He Who Remains made sure there was one timeline. If you watched Loki, and this is where I think people are going to get a little annoyed now, because it's like now there's so much more Marvel content, and it's going to become harder and harder for people to figure out some of these stories. And I can see how some people can complain and say, well, this is a movie. The movie should be all explained in it. And I'd say to them, deal with it.
Yeah, that's not how comics never work that way. You'd have to read like a Silver Surfer book to figure out what was happening in.
And I'm like, you're complaining about this now? This is like the 30th Marvel movie. You're acting like this is all of a sudden like this weird new thing of like, oh, I need to watch all these Marvel movies. I'm like, it took like what, over 20 movies until we got to Endgame? Like 25 movies? Like, like, why are you fucking complaining now? Shut the fuck up. Like, it's like, it's weird. I never saw so many people, like, I was like watching the reviews and people were like just shitting on this movie. They're just shitting on, like, listen, it's not, I ain't gonna lie, it ain't perfect. There's some things that are like, whatever. But, and I have my little nitpicks. I'll get into that in a little bit. But like, I think, one of the big holes they're trying to say is like, they think it was like convenient that Janet Van Dyne's like, oh yeah, there's this guy. And it's like, why don't you just say his name? Like, why don't you just warn the family and tell him it's Kang? And I could be like, okay, I could see that. Like, listen, we can't go down there. There's this guy named Kang. He's gonna fucking kill us. Like, but the thing is that if you watch Loki, so in the end of Loki season, the last episode of season 1.
Yep.
What was her name? Elfie? What was her name?
Sylvie.
Sylvie, basically the female variant of Loki, kills He Who Remains. And he says, see you soon, because the minute he dies, all these other variants are going to show up. I don't know how that works, but like,
you saw in the background like the timeline doing banana splits or something. I mean,
and the thing is, the whole thing about Loki was basically it kind of starts with Loki, where in Endgame, the Loki from 2012 from the Avengers movie, escapes because he found a way to escape, and then he gets caught by the TVA. Time trap, the time
variance authority.
Yeah. And that's like the whole plot of the show. And they find out they want to learn who the power behind it is. And they find out it's this guy who's He Who Remains. And he's supposedly like a lot older than, like, it was like a facade. Like he didn't,
okay, sure.
He's supposed to be like much older looking or something like that. And he's like, he seems like a nice guy, he's like a trickster kind of, but he doesn't, he's not evil like this Kang. This Kang guy is definitely like a badass. And this other guy is kind of more like a, like a little more.
He even says basically like, I may be a bad guy, but like there are worse of me out there. Like there's a lot worse of me out there.
And I'm assuming the one that we meet in this movie is the main Kang.
I would think so, yeah.
But the only reason why this even happened is because He Who Remains was killed. And he says just because he's killed there, time's not linear or something like that. It's like I don't know. It gets all convoluted. But the fact is that the only reason why we had Kang in this movie, Quantum Zone and everything like that, Quantum Mania, and Janet's memories, is that we are living in a different time. Well, everyone in the show, in the movies, are living in a different timeline now than they were before Endgame.
Right. Endgame represented like the split.
And it could be almost like a theory of like how they bring back Robert Downey Jr. for like Secret Wars and stuff like that. Is that like this will be the one pre-Endgame? It'll be a pre-Endgame. Time travel, basically.
Right.
So. And that it kind of like, I mean, it's crazy, but it kind of makes sense that like, oh yeah, this is like basically a new memory that Janet has. And you find out this Kang was sent to the Quantum Zone because he's like the most evil. There's like all these different variants, and I guess but he was like the crazy one or something, the most powerful one. They sent him to the Quantum Verse, and I guess is it Quantum Zone or Quantum Verse? What is it?
It is Quantum Realm.
Oh, Quantum Realm.
Yes.
Yeah, I was completely wrong. How do I say this? I guess he is Kang Prime.
Okay.
So all these people were like pissed too. Like, what the fuck, Ant-Man beat him? What the hell, man? You're gonna tell me he's the most powerful villain and he just got beat? I'm like, he's killed. Like, first of all, he was not killed. He got sucked into like whatever the fuck that was.
Right.
And there's another theory that he's gonna come back and he's gonna be basically the Beyonder.
Yeah.
The
Oh,
setup
yeah.
that because it's like, I guess he absorbed all this energy or whatever, the time travel juice, because he got sucked, because, and it's not like Ant-Man beat him up. They were able to like just distract him. And the thing is, like, again, the other difference between him and Thanos is like a fucking Hulk. Thanos is literally like, this guy he himself is human. Like, yeah, he could fight and he's probably will kick the shit out of you and he's probably like peak physical health or whatever, but he is human. He has technology that's like thousands of years in the future. So that's why, and his suit was destroyed. And the other thing too is in the quantum realm, his time travel powers don't work.
Right.
You didn't get the full Kang in this movie because he's trapped in the quantum realm doesn't play by the same rules. Like, I guess like there's all these like multiverses, but there's only one quantum realm.
Yeah. I was reading about it today. It was originally called the microverse. Microverse? Yeah. And then, but Hasbro owned the rights to that.
Yep.
Term.
And the other thing too, there's this guy's called you remember the Micronauts?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, there's this villain. So it's weird. Marvel owns like the rights to some characters. Like they can't use the Micronauts. They can't use the term, but they own like characters that they create. One of them is like this guy Bug or whatever. And then there's another character called Psycho Man. Oh, and he's a villain that's showing up here and there. And he kind of looks a little bit like Kang. And honestly, Kang is this version of Kang in this movie, he's basically just Psycho Man, who's like the main bad guy in the microverse or the quantum realm or whatever.
Yeah.
They took him out and they used Kang instead.
Okay.
And they wanted to also build up because Kang is the new villain. The after credit scene with the Kang.
Yeah, Council of Kangs.
That was sick. They said there's one scene when they show everyone in the crowd, it's literally ripped right out of a panel from like an old Avengers comic book.
Well, I think you're right. I think there's one quantum realm and you're supposed to only be able to get there really through like magic or like some weird means normally. Yeah. But all of the multiverse is on top of the quantum realm. And that kind of confused me at first because I was like, well, does each universe have its own quantum realm? And I don't think that's the case. I think
that's why you have all these like crazy characters and like, because people are like, well, how the fuck are all these different people there? And it's possible that they're all from like different dimensions and galaxies, whatever, and they all somehow at some form over time ended up there.
Right.
And like that would explain why it's such a diverse, like weird aliens, all these different like characters, is because it is like the main hub of like all these universes or something.
It's like the underpinning of everything.
Yeah. So some things to like nitpick. Okay, so like we didn't get Louise in this, or I love the first 10 minutes. I love him reading the book to everyone. The guy's like, I love that the guy from that old man who says, "Thank you, Spider-Man." He's from that skit from that show. I think you should. What's it called? I think you should leave.
Yeah. Do
you remember that guy? You seen him in like that weird old man. And I guess he thought he was Spider-Man. Then at the end of the movie, realized he was Ant-Man or whatever, and he's like full bucks.
Yeah.
Like the white ex-wife's not in it or anything like that. They just hyper focus on just the main characters, and they end up in the quantum realm pretty quickly. Like,
it moves
10,
quickly.
15 minutes, and you're in the quantum realm. I will say what might confuse the audience is that people, so like Scott and what's their Hope are not, they're not married, right? They never.
I don't think so. Yeah.
But like, Cassie's calling like Hank and Janet grandma and grandpa, and I can see people being like confused.
Yeah.
And then the other thing too is like, she's like, "Oh yeah, and those like 5 years you were gone, I learned how to make a fucking device that takes you to the quantum realm." And it's like, what? How the fuck did? Come on, the fuck out of here. That's like, okay, whatever. It's comics. I don't give a shit. But I think what people are gonna be like, some people might be like, well, it's Hank Pym's granddaughter. It makes sense because it could be like,
hereditary,
genius, hereditary genius. And it's like, but that's not his granddaughter.
Yeah,
they're not related at all. It's Cassie is Scott's daughter from a previous marriage.
Yeah.
And the only reason why the girl's older is because 5 years blip. They all blipped, and he was stuck in the quantum realm for like a minute. And again, too, like the quantum realm, like rules don't make any sense. So like he goes into the quantum realm in the end of Ant-Man and the Wasp, and he's trapped there because Hank and Janet and Hope were dusted by Thanos.
Right.
That was the end of it. And then he doesn't show up until Endgame, when like a rat accidentally hits the button and he gets out of the quantum realm, and you find out he was there for like seconds, but 5 years pass. But then this movie, they go in there and they're back to regular time. So it's kind of like, what rules are like the rules are like a little chaotic. It's like, okay, what's going on here? But he does say in the movie, like, he's like 100 years could have passed for all we know. Like, we can't stay here. Like.
Well, I think that I'm fine with the quantum realm just being a little unexplainable. I mean, I think if you're going to have something be unexplainable, the quantum realm's a good enough place.
Well, that's fine. It's just like I said, those are like seem to be like some kind of rules. It's like, Scott's gone 5 years because he was trapped there, even though for him it only felt like a couple, who knows how long, not very long.
Yeah.
He's only free because a fucking rat hit a button there.
Yeah, I don't have any nitpicks with the film. I liked it a whole bunch. I will say,
some kind of Marvel shit? No,
well, normally I would say people hate on Marvel films just because they like to hate on Marvel films. I think some of that's here too. But I will say I could definitely sympathize. Like, let's just say you're an average person that doesn't like comic books, doesn't love comic book films in general, but likes the occasional Marvel movie. Someone who maybe saw Guardians of the Galaxy and really liked it, or someone, like that. I could see someone like that going to this movie and being like, this was too goofy, or parts of it were so silly and then it got real serious and then it got silly again, and I didn't like that shifting tone. That's a valid complaint. Maybe this movie isn't for everyone. Like, some Marvel movies are meant to appeal to everyone. Like the new Spider-Man ones, they should appeal to everyone. But this one, I was like, this is a little inside baseball. I get how some people might not love it, even though I liked it a whole bunch. It reminded me of the comic books I used to read in the 70s. Yep. I'm thinking mostly of like Thor or Silver Surfer, where they were just like fucking batshit crazy. They were like weird, like the language was even like super stilted, and like, you'd see the Silver Surfer and he'd be flying and it'd just be like weird shit behind him, and he'd be like delivering a soliloquy and stuff. I mean, like, it reminded me of that, and I liked it. So.
I like the whole like the little hero arc with Scott, where it's like, he's like the big hero, one of the big heroes of Endgame, and it's like the reality is, if the only reason why everyone came back was because Scott got out of the quantum realm and was able to use Pym particles and stuff and get them into the quantum. He was the catalyst to get everyone.
And he came up with a plan. It was his plan to do the time heist. Yeah, I mean, honestly, like,
so
that was him.
But it's like he's like kind of living in fame and everything like that. So he's like almost like kind of retired in a bit. He's like mentally, he's like checked out, it's like he did his greatest hits. I will say the one thing that, and this has nothing to do with Ant-Man and the Wasp, but I feel like Marvel, a missed opportunity that I feel like they still have not really explained those 5 years of the blip very well. Yeah,
that's true.
I feel like there's, Black Panther. Did you ever see Wakanda Forever yet?
Yeah.
Did you watch it on Disney Plus?
I did.
So the original plot, spoilers for Wakanda Forever, the original plot was supposedly before, the actor died.
Right, yeah.
What was originally going to be him was that there was going to be the big reveal in the end of the movie is that you find out Black Panther had a son.
Right.
And the whole plot of it was going to be about like time lost, because you would find out he had a son. Even with Chadwick Boseman, it would just be like, because he was gone for those 5 years, and he comes back, and the kid's, it's a little kid, and it's all about like they would have went into more of the blip and like loss of time, and they kind of it almost like if you watch the marketing for this movie, they make it like Kang like promises Scott like time. And none of that's actually in the movie. They just like shape to make it think of like, oh, I'm gonna let you like, be able to raise your daughter. I'll make it happen for you. You'll get that time back.
Yeah.
And that's not in the movie at all. It's just the way they were able to like shape the language. But like that, supposedly that was like an original plot of Wakanda Forever before he died, and like Black Panther.
Yeah.
Chadwick Boseman remained the character and everything like that. It would have still had the son that still would have been in there. But it would have been about like, and it would have focused more on the blip a little more. And I feel like all the movies like haven't really, like Captain America and the Winter Soldier did a pretty good, Falcon the Winter Soldier did a pretty good job of talking about
that. Did
what
that did, and so did there's one other I was thinking of. Falcon and the Winter Soldier probably did the best.
Well, they like focused on it because it was like all about like people being displaced and like refugees and stuff like that, and like people viewing like, we're one world now because we like, I feel like it's like half your civilization disappears basically the world. And
Hawkeye did a little bit. Hawkeye focused on it
a little bit because they were showing you like what he kind of did in those 5 years.
Yeah,
he was one of the survivors and his family was dead. But I just feel like that is a missed opportunity, or like it could be a Disney Plus show, or just something just to explain a little more like what it was like.
It would make a great Disney Plus show.
Someone was also complaining about Cassie, again, just shitting on it because it's like a female character. I could see people just being chuds and stuff like that. But like, of course her character would be this badass, because when you see, you don't know, she was like pretty much like left alone. I don't think even her parents, like, I think she was like pretty much like a lone survivor. Like when Scott in Endgame, he knocks on the door. It was they recasted the actress,
right? Yeah.
Played, what's her face is like I swore she's like a foot shorter than the girl they got to play her in Endgame.
Well, I would say
she's like by herself. I mean, she had to like probably fend for herself more and shit.
Yeah. That would be that'd make a great Disney Plus series. Speaking of time, I did actually get around to seeing Wakanda Forever. I thought the first 7.5 hours of it were really good and moved quickly. But it was
that long.
It was the laugh tap, the second 7.5 hours that I.
Well, let's not get sidetracked. I don't want to talk about that another time, because
no, but I will say, going back to my original point, look, if people are saying this is too comic book-y for them, that's a legitimate complaint. I think that's fine.
I love it. Like, oh, I can't believe they made MODOK goofy. Oh, you mean the guy with the giant head and the baby arm and baby legs? Oh, yeah, that's so crazy. Why did they make him so weird? Oh,
the tiny armed Dalek.
Yeah, like, oh, why would they do that? That's so strange. Like, shut the fuck up. Like, I hate that. It's like, well, because there's like a video game where he's like a little more serious, and I'm like, that's not fucking MODOK. I saw that video game, and I hate clips, and I'm like, no, MODOK they pretty much nailed what MODOK is. Now they changed it, like Darren Cross is not MODOK. I don't even know the full origin of MODOK. I think it is like a scientist or whatever that like
I read it once. Yeah, and it's basically that, they wanted to make him a repository of all this knowledge, but instead they made him a repository of all this killing, and it's
and it made, for the story and the purpose and to kind of wrap up the trilogy, to have bring back Darren Cross from the first movie. And they kind of hinted in Loki, because when he's like in that weird, like, when you're introduced, I remember that big cloud monster.
Yeah.
He ends up in that field and he meets all the other variants of Loki. In the field, you see the Yellow Jacket helmet, and it's huge, the head.
Yeah.
And people like knew right there. It was like, oh shit, they're setting up. The theory started right there. It was like, okay, they're setting up that Darren Cross basically became
Well,
MODOK.
that worked well.
And you got to see MODOK's ass, which was great. I always something that, since the character was in set, made since 1968, I think he came in.
I was robbed of that by the Comics Code for too long. And
people have been demanding it. They're like, I want to see that guy's ass. And thankfully Marvel delivered. We got to see his little butt. It was kind of funny. I just can't believe they made him weird. I do like that his mask kind of resembled more like the comic, like the big angry teeth and everything like that. And I don't know. I think it worked. It's funny. And then like the other things like, oh, it's so stupid that like, he changed his side so quickly when she says to him not to be a dick.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know what? Well, one, I don't think his brain operates normal anymore. He's like,
right, yeah.
He's kind of nuts. But the other thing too is like, maybe that's all he needed. Sometimes once in a while, you need someone to tell you, hey man, stop being a dick.
Right.
And you just need that sometimes. He didn't have anyone to tell him that. Kang abused him and, he's just like this killing thing. And then, running into them and it's like his humanity came back a little bit. And I like that he died an Avenger.
Yeah.
He tells Scott that he always viewed him as a brother, which was super weird. I thought it was great. I don't care what anyone says. I love MODOK in this movie. MODOK was my son's favorite character. The other favorite character was that weird dude, the red slime guy.
Yeah, the holes.
Who was obsessed with holes. And if you drank him, you were able to like speak other dialogue. Like you were able to understand everyone. I thought that was great.
He was like a babble fish.
Yeah. I will say the one guy I kind of wish I feel like they wasted him was the guy who played Chibi on the last The Good Place.
Yeah.
He was that like telepath guy. So that ends that rumor. I thought I knew they were talks of him being in a Marvel movie, and the theory was maybe he would be
Mr. Fantastic.
Yeah, and it almost would make sense too if you had him, because Kang is a descendant, or it's really confusing. Kang is either a variant of Kang as Reed Richards' father, or Kang is a descendant of Reed Richards, like 1,000 years in the future.
Right.
So it almost makes sense that you would have Chibi.
Right.
Not to say
it would make sense. Yeah.
And that is not the actor's name. His name is not Chibi. That's just the character he played in The Good Place. A great show. Check it out.
Oh, it's so good.
Bill Murray, very important character.
Yeah.
It was very important to find out that Janet fucked.
Yeah.
Well, in the quantum realm, that was very, very important. We need to know that. And pretty cool that he understood. He said he went on some dates, but they were not Janet.
Right. That Evangeline Lilly must have had like 10 lines in this movie.
It's called Ant-Man and the Wasp. And you can look at it this way too, because technically at the end of the day, Hank and Janet are Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
Hank Pym is Ant-Man. And Janet Van Dyne is the Wasp.
Right.
That's just a fact. And so you can look at it this way. So
Hope
Van Dyne is the Wasp, but like Janet's in it a lot, and she's the Wasp.
Yeah.
She's kind of like she really doesn't do anything in this movie.
No.
It's like I don't know. Her character's it's like once her mom came back, it was kind of like I don't know what would you do with Hope Van Dyne in this story to make her pivotal. I mean, I only think I can say I will say I could see people. The one thing I could see people complain about this movie is that there really weren't any stakes in this film. Like, I mean, you want to make sure Kang doesn't get out. That's the stake. But I mean, like, no one's killed. No one's like permanently injured. Like Hank, Scott gets his ass kicked in the end by Kang when he's left behind. Kang beats the shit out of him, but like not to the point where he's like, permanently disabled or something. Like there's no stakes. Like Hank, it'd been like, maybe Hank Pym should have been like killed in this movie, or like
Yeah.
gets killed, and she does something, and she's like, "This was my fault." She's the one that stops Kang. It's like she feels guilty for because the whole plot of the movie basically is Janet is in the quantum realm, and she's being attacked by these things, and then she meets Kang and pretty much helps him build up. And
she teams up with him,
yeah, but she has no clue. He seems like a nice guy, he's seems like an interesting person, and then she I don't know, his machine, for some reason she's able to find out.
She is like a neural link or something, a telepath type of deal.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, it's I could see the complaints about it. It's not. I'll say this. I'll give the movie a 7.5.
Yeah,
it is. There's good things about it, but to say that this is the worst Marvel movie is just dumb. I don't. No, this is not.
Yeah. It's a different kind, and it's also a transitional one. This is like transitioning into the new phase. It's just a unique thing, and of all the Marvel movies, this is one of them where I could say, yeah, people can have good faith arguments as to why they didn't like it. I liked it a whole bunch, but there are good faith arguments as to why this might not be your cup of tea. It's fine. You don't got to say it.
I feel like some of the things though, because just like comics and stuff like that, and this is one thing you'll learn too, is that stuff like I said, people are going to be like, well, what the fuck? Why is it Jan? And well, that's just bad writing, Jan. Remember things. And I think they'll eventually clear up and I'll be like,
yeah.
No, we're getting these new memories because when He Who Remains was killed, everything changed. We're living in a different timeline. When you live in a different timeline, you have new memories. It's like the Mandela effect, basically.
Yeah, I think this movie will be. I think this movie will be available on Disney Plus around the same time Loki season 2 is on, and some people will probably want to revisit this movie based on what they see in Loki.
So we got 2 end credit scenes. The first one was the Council of Kangs. We got to see the 3 main variants, which is Ramatut.
Yeah.
Awesome. Ramatut, it's funny, in the comic books, he's a Fantastic Four villain, and he predates Kang by a year. And then they did a retcon that revealed that was Kang. So it's Fantastic Four 19 is technically Kang's first appearance.
Yeah.
It's again, Kang is a convoluted character. Thanos, people probably like Thanos because he's a big brute and he has a simple thing. I want to kill half the universe because I think more resources and bullshit. Balance. Everything's about balance. And Kang is it's chaos, and it's little time variance. It's Back to the Future on steroids. It is. It's all the shit from Back to the Future 2 on steroids. And I think that it might be, who knows? It might not be everyone's cup of tea. They might be I can't keep track of this shit,
Yeah,
and I'll be
that's fine.
Kang was never my favorite villain in Marvel Comics. I just never. I wasn't really a big Avengers fan as a kid. I always was a fan anyway. But Kang, I always found to be a kind of just a convoluted character, a time guy. And I don't know. I didn't like the way he looked. I think he's cool over the years, but back then I don't know. I just never cared for him. But I do and the other one is Immortus, the one that was kind of in the center. He looks a little bit like what's his face? They made him look like the guy from Little Shop of Horrors almost.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
What was that guy's name?
Yeah.
But he's supposed to be old. He's old. He's really old.
Yeah.
An older Kang. But the joke was the He Who Remains guy, he was infinitely older. He
just appeared young.
Yeah, it's a facade. And then in the other one, we got an after credit scene, and we got to see Owen Wilson. He was like, "Oh wow."
Yeah.
And Loki, and they're in the past, and this is pretty much just a clip from Loki 2.
Yeah. No, actually,
quick little clip, and you see Victor Timely, and he's another Kang variant where Kang decides, I'm going to go back in the past and take over from early in the technological
1900s or something. Yeah.
And which is kind of funny too, Victor Timely. Do you know the significance of the name Timely when it comes to Marvel?
Mm-mm.
That was the original name of the publisher. before
Oh,
Timely Comics.
that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Upset. Excelsior. Yeah, I liked it. I'm wondering. I don't think we're gonna get any more Ant-Man movies, though. I think that was it. If you notice, it just says Kang Returns, doesn't say Ant-Man. And I mean,
I can see Ant-Man popping up as a cameo.
Yeah,
but
no,
that's about it.
I think Ant-Man will be in the Avengers movies. I think he'll be, but I don't know. I think it's like a character that, like, I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing another Ant-Man movie. Oh, what's his face on the red carpet? They interviewed what's the guy's name?
Scott Rudd.
No, the guy who plays Hank Pym, the famous actor.
Oh, Michael Douglas.
Michael Douglas. And they said, "Would you do another one?" He said, "Only if they kill him." He's like, "If they kill me, I'll do another one." I thought that was pretty funny. I do like Bill Murray's has a powerful arc. He shows up, you find out he used to be like a rebel, and then they used to fuck. Him and Janet used to get it on. That was very important information.
Yeah.
And and then he eats like a weird little a sad little creature, like a little shrimp.
Yeah.
And it's like, and then Hank, like when they're escaping, because he turns out to be a bad guy, Hank throws a particle on it and blows it up.
Yeah.
And that thing eats.
Yeah.
It's a powerful arc.
Yeah.
The broccoli guy was cool.
Yep. Yeah. There's a lot going.
I like the spaceships that were alive. And one of my favorite parts of that was when they're having the big battle in the end.
Yeah.
The spaceship is holding another spaceship that was like shot. It reminded me of like in Return of the Jedi when the one Ewok on the dead Ewok, and it was like really sad. Like, oh, teddy bears can die too.
Yeah.
But that spaceship, I was like, and my son said it looked like giant dicks. So that was cool.
Well, I think there's a lot going on in the background. This definitely, it's the kind of movie where if you like it, it's definitely probably worth seeing again, you know.
Last thing to say about it, I understand one other complaint people have about it, and this is kind of like a technical thing. And if you watch it and realize it, a lot of this is it's, you can tell it's shot on like a set, and it's one of those like what they do with the Mandalorian, where it's that that weird, what do they call that? It's like
a green screen.
It's but they're projecting like the movie or something in the background, so it's like it's not perfected yet. It's, I don't know, people were like trashing the CGI in this movie. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? It looked amazing. Like,
I was also, I did see that complaint. I'm a little surprised. I mean, like, here's the thing: if you, and maybe I'm simplifying it too much, but like with any movie I go into, if I start looking for proof of bad CGI, I'll find it, you know. But like, if you just watch a movie, it's very, very good. So I don't
understand how it's bad CGI. Like I remember going like even after the theater, I was like in the bathroom. I heard you like kids were like, "Oh, the CGI sucked." I'm like, what the? What are you watching that's like better? Like, what are you talking about?
Right? Yeah.
Like I just feel like I don't know. I'm like, how was it bad CGI? Like, what do you mean? Like, I mean, if you're talking about like maybe like the actors don't look like they're there or something, then that's an argument we can have. But like, that shit looked amazing. What are you talking
it really
about?
did. It really
I'm
did.
glad I saw it in 3D. I don't usually see 3D movies, but that one, and I saw the trailer. They showed trailers before the movie started. One of them was for Mario Brothers.
Mm-hmm.
That looked amazing. And I'd like if I go see them, I'm gonna have to see that in 3D. And then seeing Guardians of the Galaxy trailer looked amazing in 3D. Like the scene when they're like in that big white room and like the colors are crazy looking. And I will say this though about 3D movies is the best time to watch it is the first 10 minutes of a 3D movie. Because like your eyes eventually adjust. They just do.
Yeah, that's true.
And so I don't know. I liked it. It is definitely not the worst Marvel movie.
For sure.
Is it everyone's cup of tea?
I don't think so.
I watched it and we're like, there's a lot of Rick and Morty stuff in here. Yeah, well, we found out because like the guy who literally wrote the movie was like one of the head writers of Rick and Morty. That's funny too, because it's like this weird, like Council of Kangs, and then like in Rick and Morty, there's like the Council of Ricks, and it's like, yeah, but the Council of Kangs predates the Council of Ricks by like 30 years.
Oh yeah.
So, but I guess we need a Rick and Morty writer to make it's like
bring
a
it
weird,
to life.
it's like a Kang weird time loop, you know?
Yeah.
To make sense, we need a Rick and Morty writer to and Rick and Morty is like mostly just pastiches of other things.
It really is. It's real derivative. I mean, it's clever and original, but it's also very derivative.
We mean the fact the main two people are just literally Doc Brown and
yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's part of it. So
it's like it's not even like they're hiding it. Like in the initial pilot, it was meant to be literally a parody.
Yeah. Oh well. All right. So Ant-Man Wasp.
Thumbs up.
Yeah. All right. So we saw the what is it, the 6th episode of Last of Us?
Yeah, I think so.
And I think there's only 2 episodes left. Now the last one's I think it's only 8 episodes.
Spoilers.
Yeah.
Preview for next week?
I did.
Next week is like a flashback episode.
Yeah, those are going to be. I am excited for that.
And that would make like Ellie's like upbringing and stuff. Like probably get to see Fedra more and see how it's like to, because it looks very militarized. Like she's like in a military school and shit.
Yeah. Well, she forecasted that or telegraphed that a lot tonight in the latest episode, where she was talking about like losing a lot of people. Everyone she's ever known has kind of left her. I just looked to it's not 9 episodes, so there's
2 more after this one.
After the next one, because we have Left Behind is the next one, and then there's 2 more. Before we started recording, you were saying like this was a solid episode, but it wasn't like your favorite. And I think
it's good. It's just like I don't have like a million things to talk about here. It's just more like, so it starts off with them kind of like it starts off with these 2 like this, I guess, indigenous close to senior age indigenous person coming home, and he has his wife just sitting there, and you see Joel there, and he has like a gun pointed, but it's like, we just need stuff, we're like
so we'll be on our way.
And their interaction with them is great. It's like really funny, and that lady is so fucking funny. Just like laughing the entire time. And then like I knew who that woman is. I was like watching it with my wife, and I was like, that's that lady from Northern Exposure. I looked it up, made sure I looked it up, and it is. And she was the assistant to like the doctor in Northern Exposure, and she was just like the way she was in the show. It's just like had like a dry wit. Her voice is just like really like, it made me cry. I was just like smiling the entire time. When she's like, when they're talking about like fireflies, and she's like, "You mean the bugs don't light up?" And they're like, "Yeah, no, wait, we have firefly people or something."
It was great because it also kind of gave you a sense that there are probably tons of people like that around the world, where they got off the grid, they're living their life, they know the rules of the road. Like, look, we don't go past this river. We don't. We got our whole little shtick panned out. And that's how they're going to live and die. You know,
they said that she says that like she didn't want to move, but like it probably saved her life being off the grid, because they got off the grid before it all went down in 2003, and that's probably why they're alive today.
Right.
So, regardless, even though the woman didn't seem very happy about that decision years ago, but they're alive probably because of that, and they didn't get like, and they're not bad people at all. Like Joel just is, has to be careful and be on guard all the time. So, and they're just like, I don't know. That scene was great. And then they give him like the directions, and then they're like, it's in the snow and shit. And then all of a sudden, like this whole, people on horseback show up, man. They're like, they got their guns on them, and they have the dog, and the dog's like,
that's
they can sniff out. And of course he's fine, but he's more nervous about her because like she's, she's infected. Like she's not, it's weird. It's like she has it, but she's not, she obviously didn't turn to like
it's hard to, we don't know for sure. They say she's infected but hasn't turned, but it's not entirely clear if she's immune to infection or if she.
Well, she did get, if you remember in the second episode, she got bit or cut again, and she was fine.
Yeah.
Because Joel really didn't believe it. He thought it was bullshit. And then when what was the woman? Torv?
Tessa
gets killed. You also find out that Ellie got bit as well, and she's like trying to prove to Joel, like, no, look, I'm fine. There's nothing wrong. And there was nothing wrong with her. So she's immune to it. Like,
right.
I mean, at this point, she's pretty much immune to it.
Oh yeah, she's immune. I was just saying, like, we don't know if she's immune, meaning she cannot be infected, or whether she is infected and doesn't ever develop the disease.
Yeah, well, I think that's it, because like I said, showing it, her getting it again the second time,
true.
Reaction to it shows that it's her. She is not maybe not immune, but what's the term? You know, people got COVID and they didn't show any symptoms.
Yeah, asymptomatic. Yeah,
she's just asymptomatic, and who knows? I mean, it could be affecting her in ways we don't know about, but it's not like a way where she's going to lose like control of her mind and be turned into a fucking. You know, but I love the dog that's gonna like ripple apart, you know, because it's like sweet and she's petting it.
Yeah.
And then it's revealed that they're like what, Nebraska or something like that?
Colorado, Wyoming? I thought.
No, it was Wyoming.
Why it must be Wyoming, yeah, because it's in Wyoming. Because they say something about it being near like Jackson Hole or something.
Yeah.
And it turns out that
it's like small town, but it functions. They have they have running water pretty much. They have
they got electricity. They got the dam working again.
Yeah,
and
they got heat. They have they basically have like
a movie theater.
Yeah, they almost have like a almost functioning society. It's not perfect. I just love it though. So you get to see his brother again. We haven't seen him since the first episode.
Yeah,
that was the plot. He was trying to meet his brother. Now, why did he get like a radio signal from his brother or something? Like, why was he trying to get his brother?
Well, I think they were just keeping in touch, and the brother was like, this has always bugged me. They had the system, and it was like, if it's an 80s song, there's trouble. And a great last scene of the first episode is they play Never Lets Me Down Again by Depeche Mode, an 80s song. And that's a signal that there's trouble. And at first I thought it was maybe that couple that was signaling them.
Right.
Yeah, because there's a scene in there where they look in the basement and there's radio playing, a playlist.
Yeah.
But here it also seems like it's also the brother. So that's never been explained. And why did they shift it to trouble? Like that's never been explained either. Like that was a real ominous piece of foreshadowing in the first episode. Oh shit, there's trouble from somewhere. But nobody's ever like said, oh, I turned it to the 80s because A, B, and C happened. But they said that the brother's new wife told him to stop sending signals. And it's kind of revealed in that haircut scene that the brother's new wife doesn't trust Joel. She thinks Joel's
this is a woman who's, I guess, kind of like in charge. She's like a counselor, but she's definitely one of the head people.
Yeah.
And if anyone's wondering, it's the woman. She was Suki's friend on True Blood.
Yeah.
A character that I felt like after season 2, they never knew what the fuck to do with.
No.
They just never knew what to do with her. They had her they gave her like powers one season. I remember it was like a total fucking mess.
Yeah. That show was a disaster. It was fun, but it was a disaster.
Good first couple of seasons, and it just like shit the bed real quick.
Yeah.
But she's a great actress. I've seen her in like other things here and there.
Oh yeah, she's good.
But... get to see the brother, and he's like, he ain't going anywhere. She's pregnant too. She's pregnant.
Yes, Maria. That's her name.
You find out she had kids before it too, right? Like
she had one child, I think a son, who was killed.
Yep.
And then she reveals to Ellie that Joel had a daughter who was killed.
Yeah.
And quickly realizes that Ellie didn't know that.
He never told her?
No.
I thought he did.
No.
Yeah, that's why I was like, I thought he did reveal that he had a daughter that was like around her age.
I mean, I didn't think of that until I saw that scene, and then just remembering back, he never.
And the whole episode, it's like he's either sick. There's definitely something wrong with him. He's having It's
like panic attacks.
Yeah, he's having like panic attacks. I think he just can't handle it. And he basically says to his brother, like, you gotta take her. He's like,
Yeah.
I can't. He's like, even with the dog thing situation, it's like, I guess he would have done something. And thankfully, maybe it's probably best he didn't, because the dog, would have gotten a lot worse. But like, he feels like he's missing things. He's just not, he feels weaker. He's getting old. And he's just like, he thinks there's something wrong with him. He won't be able to save her, basically.
Yeah, well, they've shown this a few times where he's had these kind of panic attacks, these Ted Lasso-esque panic attacks.
Yeah, I remember that Ted Lasso had those panic attacks too when he ate up with those mushroom people.
Yeah. And they have really gone out of their way to make Joel look old. And
he is. I mean, he's like almost 60.
Yeah, and a little doughy. And there's even a scene where he's talking to his brother.
He said he was flaccid.
What?
I'm kidding. They said he was flaccid, limp.
Well, he's talking to his brother, and he's like, "You look great," and the brother's like, "You look old," and it's true. And they're putting like gray hair on him, or allowing Pedro Pascal to like.
Well, Pedro Pascal he's playing a character who's older than he is.
Yeah.
He's playing someone who's like, I don't know how old Pedro Pascal is, but I would assume this guy's at least over 10 years older than him.
Yeah. And it's true.
His brother is younger than him, but his brother's like also like, the past couple of years, he's been living in this like more calm life. Like, it's like, it's an easier life. Like, there's resources, and everyone seems friendly, and the only thing they have to do is just stay on guard, make sure nothing, like there's no invaders, or like
no one's dragging a knife riddled corpse through the streets with a truck, and something.
Right. Like, this isn't, Kathleen's the hell. But, even like, because like, Joel's been living in what do they call them? Like, I mean, it started out with
the QZ.
Yeah. You saw that. I mean, it doesn't look like it's a good life, he's burying bodies. He's like, in the beginning, they show him literally throwing a corpse of a small child into a fire.
Yeah.
That can't
I think it makes perfect sense that he was kind of running on adrenaline for most of this time.
Yep.
And then got like really fucked up along the way. And finally he gets to a safe place, like a place where he could like conceivably get a good night's sleep without having to like
honestly should just stay there. Like,
and like where he doesn't have to like lunge for his gun the first time he wakes up. It makes perfect sense that at that point he's like, I'm tapping out. I can't do this anymore. And he's using it as kind of like an excuse, like, well, it's not safe for the kid, or it's for human, but he just can't do it anymore. He's been through like so much. But I thought like one of the great scene, and the reason this was an episode, is there's that one scene where he finally says to Ellie, "You're going to go with my brother instead." And they go into the barn in the morning to head out, and Joel is already there. And he's like, "I was going to steal a horse and run, but that was a half hour ago. I couldn't do it, And he said, "You deserve a choice. I think it's better that you go with," and Ellie immediately like slaps the bag into his arms and says, "Let's go."
Yeah.
And it's just such a great scene. She like loves him. She really loves
she's Grogu, and he's a Mandalorian.
Yeah, that's it. That's 100% it. And this
brother was basically Luke in the end of Mandalorian.
Right. And so like
just like Grogu was offered a choice between living the life of a Jedi, or here's some armor, you could go hang out with your space daddy.
Well, each episode,
adventuring space daddy, who you get to pick, and so Grogu's like, "Fuck, I'm gonna hang out with the space adventure."
Yeah, right.
With this cool mesh thing under my potato sack.
Each episode,
kind of thinking the same thing.
Each episode over the last 3 or 4 has shown like one thing that's moved their relationship along. Like in the one episode, Joel lets her keep the gun. And then in the next episode, he starts laughing at her pun book, her joke book. And then in this episode, he's like, he's finally like, well, let's choose to be together. And they even hint around about a future, like what do you want your future to look like? And previously, he made it real clear, like, we're having separate futures, but now they're like talking about having, like, sticking together,
Yeah.
and it's great. I mean, it's like you saw very naturally over a series of episodes that relationship grow, and it was like earned along the way.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it really starts in like the third episode with the whole,
yep.
And then by and at that point, with everything going on with the two brothers that get killed, unfortunately, and
yeah.
um,
But you're right. It is a total. This is the Mandalorian.
It's Walking Dead Mandalorian.
The Walking Man, the Walking Mando.
Walking Mando. Yeah, he keeps talking about this religion he has, like he has to wear a helmet all the time.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, there's so many similarities, but well, they leave.
They leave. They go on their way. And there's supposed to be this place where these doctors are supposed to be, right? But the whole place is abandoned. I love you see all the monkeys.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's not good. But the monkeys ran away.
Yeah.
But there's like clearly these like bandits or whatever the fuck they are. I mean, like, I would imagine running into any of these people can't be good. There's a good chance these fucking people could be cannibals. You don't even like in this, like, if you don't have like a place to stay, it's obviously a good reason why the Nebraska place, like, they're mean about it. They got a dog that will like rip you apart, but it's like, we got like a society that's functioning,
right?
The last thing we need is like the wrong person to get in, and it would just end everything. Like,
the wrong person or the wrong mushroom. I mean, like,
exactly.
But like, I did wonder that too. Like, they're on the second or third floor, and they see 4 raiders or whatever returning back to that area, or for whatever they're doing. And I was like, well, why didn't he, like? And I'm not saying these were well thought out plans, but like, why don't you, while you have the drop on them, yell out like, hey, who are you? Or I'll shoot you in the head, like, and tell me what you're about, because they might have been like, look, we came from that city you just came from. We're on a scouting mission. I mean, like, he had no idea what they were going on. Of course, they were probably cannibals, but like,
or just, they would have killed them and just took whatever supplies they had,
Yeah, and that's probably likely to. And we don't know, like, because Joel has said a couple times, like, I used to be those people, and we just killed people and took their shit. I mean, like, so
he's gonna be naturally more hesitant to be like,
yeah.
So he's already like in a weakened state to begin with, and then he gets stabbed, and that's kind of like where it ends. They kill one of them, and I guess the other ones escape, whatever. But Ellie's pretty much like at this point, like almost like left on. They're on the horse, and he falls off the horse because he's like probably bleeding.
He got stabbed with like a railroad spike or something.
Yeah, or like a broken bat or something. It was like a broken piece of wood. It looked like
it's a deep wound, and it's like gushing this dark red
get
blood.
Medical attention like immediately. He's dead. I'm sure he'll survive.
I'm sure. Yeah,
but that's where I think this is where it's like a good. We get the flashback episode now with what happened to Ellie. It's probably going to explain what happened with her. She got the bite.
Yep.
Her friend. It's kind of, I don't know. Now there was a Last of Us comic that came out that basically is that story with her friend.
Oh, okay.
I've seen like some of it, and it looks like it's ripped out of that. Now I don't know if the comic is adapting stuff from the game or if that literally if that is original to the comic. Either way, it's pretty cool.
Well, I do like this because another thing they've shown in the series is very gradually making it clear that Ellie is kind of can take care of herself in a lot of ways, but in the ways that she couldn't, Joel has kind of taught her. And
she's still a kid.
But there's even a scene when they are on horseback and Joel realizes like, oh, there's no guards. And Ellie's like, gun? And he's like, yeah. And she pulls out a gun, hops off the horse, and they both go in with their guns drawn. So like, it's clear at that point, like, okay, he's coached her well enough so that she'll be okay for a little bit while he recovers.
Just like Grogu.
Yes.
See, Grogu had Jedi powers, and we found out that he was trained by the Jedi Council, but then the clone troopers came and shut up everyone. Luke said, I'm just kind of like awakening those powers. Like,
Right.
And Ellie, you find out in the preview for this new episode that clearly it's like some weird, she's like in a weird military type school.
Yeah.
And they're basically training those kids to be like guards or soldiers. And I think it's gonna be a good episode too, because we're gonna get to learn about Fedra, and maybe we'll find out why Fedra is actually bad. Like we feel like everyone's says Fedra is a horrible thing, and
I'll bet you we get a nuanced view of it, and Fedra is kind of like a necessary evil.
Well, I mean, it's like, yeah, but maybe you could find like, okay, they're just not doing a good job at it. Like, they're going at it wrong, and I don't know. But like, yeah, like I wouldn't take like Kathleen's point of view why Fedra's bad,
right,
but I would maybe consider like the Joel's brother and his wife's like point of view of why Fedra, because they offer an actual better society,
right?
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, what?
Joel only really agreed to live with Fedra because he was broken. His daughter's death broke him, and he walked his way to Boston and was like.
But he was kind of like doing stuff on the side anyway the whole time. I mean, he was still like kind of working with like the rebellion or whatever it was, and that's because he was still with that woman. But yeah, you're right. He was like pretty much just like done. It's like the same thing too, where it's like the young character gives the older character a new purpose, and like re-energizes them, gives them a new, she's, we got to see flashbacks more, or got to see images. He's seeing like his daughter, and there's like a woman that from the back of the head looks like it could be his daughter, at what age she would be now, and you see that she has like a kid that would be his grandkid, so it's like really sad. But I think we're gonna learn, like, Ellie had some combat skills and stuff like that. Just like Grogu.
Right. Well, I'm really looking forward to it.
Mandalorian season 3 starts next week, and it'd be really funny if like the first episode's like just something like it plays like a Last of Us episode.
Yeah, that would be.
Yeah, the whole episode is just like Max Rebo and Droopy McCool having a gay romance. I mean, I'd watch that.
Right. I would, yeah.
Well, cool pushing an elderly Rebo wheelchair.
Yeah, I would say, I'm really looking forward to the conclusion of this season. I think they've already announced a season 2.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, and I am real curious to see what comes of it, because I know the basic story of the video game. I knew the basic story of the video game before I even knew there was going to be a TV show. So I kind of know where this is going. They've kept pretty faithful to it from what I remember.
Yeah.
But I don't know anything about the second video game or what they envision the future to be. So
I honestly, it's kind of like Game of Thrones too. Like once in a while, I'd find out some stuff about Game of Thrones from like some people I've worked with or read the books, and I try to avoid spoilers, so it made me enjoy the show more. And honestly, with Last of Us, I would prefer not to know anything.
Yeah, me too.
It's like Walking Dead, I knew some stuff too. Like I didn't read the Walking Dead comic, but like it diverted so much from the comic and so many times that it really. It was like right out the gate, it kind of like diverted,
I actually read like the first 3 seasons worth of TV show worth of the Walking Dead comic.
Yeah.
And you're right, it did kind of divert pretty spectacularly.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So that's the pop culture stuff. Now for the hard-hitting news, right?
Hard-hitting. Rigid, hard.
Erect news. Well, I will say that the first
around the hard news shaft.
The first story we're going to talk about, I don't know if I have a ton to say about it, but it was Biden's trip to the Ukraine. It was magnificent. Biden looked, I mean, I know the guy's super old, but Biden looked like a rock star or something. He had this like super cool.
I didn't watch it.
He went
to Ukraine?
He went to the Ukraine. They put him on a special train to get there, and they called it Rail Force One. or something. It was like a modified
No
train. Seriously, that was the code name or the nickname for it, whatever. And so they get him into there, and Biden looks amazing. He's like super trim, and he's wearing this also. He's all in black. He's got this black trench coat on.
Trump went to a McDonald's and he looked like shit.
But Biden had all these aviator glasses, his like signature glasses.
So it was like when Bush went on
mission accomplished.
Yeah.
No, but like this one worked because like nobody was saying mission accomplished, but the air raid sirens.
Well, we also are not the one that invaded a country this time.
The air raid sirens are going off. He's walking around with Zelensky. And Biden's not particularly tall, but Zelensky, a lot of people don't know this, but he's only like 2'8".
Yeah, he's a very short little man. Yeah,
he's a halfling.
He's a hobbit, actually. It's not
I remember the Smurfs were described as being 3 apples tall, and I think he's not much taller.
Like 6 apples.
Yeah, he's like 6 apples.
3 apples. That's not very tall.
It's not very tall, but it's tall. Like I always conceptualize the Smurfs as being the size they were.
I think Biden's just like 6 feet or something.
He's
not like a
So anyway, air raid sirens are going off. Biden looks the part. He just looks like a baller, and Zelensky.
Yeah, you want to like fuck this guy or something.
Zelensky's like walking around, and Biden's introducing himself to like Zelensky's cabinet, and Zelensky's kind of like tearing up in the background and wiping his eyes. I mean, it's just like couldn't have scripted it any better. I'm sure it was scripted. I mean, I'm sure that like they brought in people to say like how can we make this look as awesome as possible, and they understood the assignment and they did it because it was a pretty cool looking thing.
I mean, I don't know, I don't really personally give a shit about that stuff, but it is whatever, it's cool. I mean, I think it's important that people need to understand that what's going on. When you hear the right wing complaining, well, it's disingenuous and they say bullshit about like, oh, look we're giving 50 million to Ukraine, but this like these people ever give a fuck. These people want to cut services for everyone domestically. So I don't take anything they say. It's all bad faith.
Yeah.
And we've have donated to militaries and everything for decades. And it has nothing to do at all with anything going on in the country. It is complete bullshit. And the other thing too is, this is about stopping, and Russia is this is an imperial, this is imperialism.
Well, yeah, it is.
This isn't this isn't like they're not going to come together and have peace. Anyone that tells you that is bullshit. The only way it's going to stop is if Putin decides one day, or he just gets decimated. It's one or the other. Putin decides, okay, I'm done. I'm bored. See you guys later. Sorry for bothering you.
I'm not even sure it'll end.
There's no diplomacy here. It's just not. Maybe there'll be diplomacy when Putin's removed. If Putin dies or he's removed from the picture, maybe there's a chance for diplomacy because you'll have a new leader and
Yeah.
But
one of the problems though is that there are a couple regions, those breakaway regions, where there's a significant amount of the population that wants to be Russia. That doesn't mean they get to be Russia or that they can change the country's borders or anything, but there's some even if they kick Russia out and they get rid of Putin and they win, there's still going to be some trouble in some of those areas because you've got a lot of people living in there that want to go back to Russia, but they don't want to leave to do it.
Yeah, but do they, or are they just saying that? You know what I mean?
I think there really are. I think it would be and I'm trying to think of a good example.
March your tail grains.
Well, it would be I think it'd be the native Hawaiians that that are resentful of Hawaii being part of America. They have some legitimate beefs or whatever, but look, it's not when it's Hawaii's part of America.
I think that's all colonialism thing that bothers them.
Yeah, I mean, but so anyway, and that's probably a clumsy analogy on my part, but
I know what you're getting at, but the point is that there's no, I don't trust. I take people at bad faith when they say like, "Oh, why can't they come together?"
Oh yeah, no, that's
these people.
wrong.
Ukraine and Russia are not on equal footing.
Well, in Ukraine,
Russia is invading the Ukraine.
Yeah,
and it is constantly being attacked. If you come in and try to tell me something that's the opposite of that, which is the truth, I don't trust you. I think you're working in bad, not you.
Well, it's stupid.
In bad faith.
And the idea that you want to push them to negotiate stupid, because like if I broke into your house and started stealing your shit, the only remedy is for me to leave and leave all your shit there. It's not to start talking about, well, what shit can I keep? That's not
like there's no negotiating. It's like the same thing. Like I was against the war in Iraq. Why? Because we invaded a country that had nothing to do with 9/11.
We were the aggressor.
Bullshit. We were the aggressor. And I'm telling you, any of these motherfucking Republicans, or any of these people who are claiming that they're these like anti-war bullshit. Well, all those motherfuckers would have been pro-Iraq war.
And so many of them.
And they were. There's fucking proof of it.
Well, there's proof of it with Russia.
A huge example.
There was a huge story tonight. They were talking about Meatball Ron. And when Meatball Ron was a congressman, he was super anti-Russia.
Oh, yeah. And now he's pushing bullshit now.
Yeah.
Because he knows that the right wing, for some reason, loves Putin.
Yeah.
Thanks to Trump. Trump shifted. The Republicans were more like McCain. They were warhawks when it came to like going against Putin. And then all of a sudden Trump becomes the nominee, becomes president, and the entire Republican Party, pretty much, except for a couple here and there, on a flip their position on Russia. Or they're like cagey about it. Like they won't say they support Putin, but like they say nothing to not support him.
Yeah.
And it's really odd. It's very strange. There are definitely politicians that are completely in bed with Russian money, Russian oligarch money, and shit like that. Marjorie Taylor Greene has to be. There's no way she is not. She constantly regurgitates Russian talking points when it comes to like the war in Ukraine, anything. She's always spewing. So yes, it is in like, listen, can you question like, okay, like the money that we're giving in Ukraine, is it actually getting to the people to like this?
Sure.
We can talk about that. That's a legitimate thing. But like, if you're gonna like come in with some bullshit and tell me like, oh, the reason why we don't have like textbooks is because of Ukraine, that's bullshit.
Right. No.
First of all, you could probably talk to your governor. Why?
Yeah.
For the reason. It has nothing to do with Ukraine.
Well, I mean, America's always had a foreign policy that involved spending money overseas, and it's
I mean, listen, there's so many resources that get drained. I mean, again, Iraq war was a good example.
Yeah.
You want to talk about like why we don't have certain things? The Iraq war is probably a good reason. But the amount of money I think we spend on the Iraq war versus what we're spending on Ukraine is like, I don't even think it's even like, I don't know what the numbers are, but I bet no way in hell they are even in the same. No fucking way.
Yeah, not in the same ballpark.
And not even just that, American lives that were lost too, just were destroyed by that fucking dumbass war. And all the Iraqis that were killed too. Like millions of people were killed in that fucking disaster.
It is really crazy. I think Russia, my guess, and I don't know this for a fact, but I think Russia started out by trying to just sow discord. I don't think they ever planned on the Republicans picking up their talking points and going with them, but that's what happened,
I think that there's more Republicans that are in bed with them that are in power now than there were 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, that could be.
Or it's like you said, it's like Ron Johnson going to fucking Moscow on July 4th. Like, what?
Weird.
What's that about?
Yeah.
What's going on there, buddy? Who are you talking to? Why are you going there? That's strange.
Yeah, that is really weird.
I don't know where the Ukraine thing goes. It's scary. It really is. But like, again, the Ukraine thing, it's just, I feel like it exposed so many bad faith actors. Like I guess there was some like bullshit protests in DC this weekend or whatever, like an pro peace one, but it was really just like a pro Russia and imperialism. And I saw clips of it, and it was all like right wing talking points and just real dumb shit. I'm like, these are not doves. And one of the guys went there, interviewed this guy who was from Russia, and he said like, well, one, he's pro-Ukraine, like he's like on the side of Ukraine and everything like that. He kept on pointing out, they're like, oh, this is a big crowd here, and the guy's like, this is not a big crowd. Like he kept on saying, I love that. He's like, no, this is not a big turnout at all. Yeah. This is like laughably bad. Then I like saw it. I was like, so anyone that says that, like I said, like what was it, like fucking Roger Waters is like, what the fuck? What's up that fucking guy's brain?
I don't know. But that is weird.
You're not pro-peace. If you are anti-Ukraine defending themselves against Russia, you're not pro-peace. You're literally pro-imperialism.
They're mutually exclusive. But just the idea that you're an aggressor, you know, I mean, like even if Russia said, like, look, we believe this land should be ours or blah, blah, then you say, like, all right, you know, go to the UN, sue for a border dispute, or you go and you deliver your message to the people and say, hey, your country has a process for whatever, you can emigrate if you want to come here, we'll give you some land or whatever. But none of that was never what it was about.
Like
Russia,
Ukraine, like the breadbasket of Europe or some shit too. It's like
they do have a lot of grain and everything, but I think one of the bigger things is that they have access to ports that Russia really wants, you know, and
that's all it has to do with. It's nothing to do with like, oh, it's important to our culture.
Yeah,
out of here. No, it's important to your fucking wallet.
I mean, if it was a landlocked, barren place without resources, they wouldn't.
You know, it's like the same thing with Saddam. It's like, I don't give a fuck about the people in Iraq. You just want to know those oil fields.
Yeah.
Like, come on, are you fucking fooling here?
I think the big contrast between, and we don't have to transition quite yet, but it was such a contrast between Biden in Ukraine and in Poland and all of those, like he just looked really in command.
Can I well, go ahead, go.
And big old gloppy Trump at
we'll talk about that in a minute.
In front of a burning truck, talking about how he's going to hand out discount water. I mean, the guy just looked like
he basically said that he had nothing to do. He said, I had nothing to do with this train.
Low,
he regulated it. And
a lot of even Republicans were like that whole thing was a disaster. He looked out of touch. It was just such a clear contrast.
Well, we're not even, I guess that is next. Okay. Well, real quick, I will say this too. A good example of like the idea, like a bad faith argument of saying like, Ukraine is defending itself against an imperialist nation. That's like when Sarah Huckabee Sanders said in her speech some bullshit about the culture war, like we're being forced to fight our culture.
Come on.
It's like, no, you're the motherfuckers that are putting in laws that are attacking marginalized people. Trans people are not trying to take away your rights. They're not doing anything. They're just trying to exist. Just like Ukraine was not trying to invade Russia.
No.
It's just and the thing is, like, the argument would be like, would Putin have invaded Ukraine if Trump was president? Definitely.
Yeah.
Except I think that they would probably have won if they invaded. Well, remained president. I don't think the United States would have helped.
They would have just said, hey, this is part of our country now, and Trump would have recognized it. He would have said, yeah, let's change the maps.
Putin's a good guy. He knows how to run things. You know, he's a strong leader. You know, I think the people of Ukraine are going to be really lucky. He's very talented. Very talented. You know,
it's so
great,
disgusting.
Strong leader. And the people of Ukraine really should be appreciative of a leadership like Putin. I think, I'm not kidding. It's exactly word for word what he's saying.
Right. Oh, well.
So, yeah. Okay. So, transitioning to, so I guess there was mentioning that Trump was going to go to Palestine, Ohio.
Yeah.
The train wreck was a couple of weeks ago that caused basically a white noise event.
Yeah.
White noise where a chemical cloud that we still don't know what the dangerous effects are going to be for people.
Yeah, and I don't think anyone
animals were
knows.
killed. The governor decide again. We're talking about bad faith. Let's blame Pete Buttigieg and Biden and everything. And I could say, listen, I'm not going to say they don't deserve any blame. I think there is some blame. I think the being soft on the whole union argument.
Yeah, fair point.
Now, if the union thing would have went through, let's say, it's probably still would have happened because there's no way all the things would have been fixed, only a couple of weeks ago. But the fact is that the argument was like, this shit needs to be fixed. These greedy ass companies don't want to pay. And that's why we keep seeing all these derailment stories.
Yeah.
And we're now seeing that it happens like all the fucking time because this really horrible one happened. And now when something horrible happens, all of a sudden everyone pays attention.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
All the other 1,000 ones that. So Trump's like, well, of course they're like trying to do some bad faith argument too, like, oh, Biden went to Ukraine and didn't go to Palestine, Ohio. Clearly doesn't give a fuck about the people of Palestine, Ohio.
Well, I said that last week, and sure enough, I saw that a ton on Twitter over the last week. Tons of people in Ohio talking about how the reason Biden's ignoring them is because they're white, and if it had been a black community, they would have like.
That was a Tucker Carlson talking point that started with him and that fucking piece of shit hillbilly LG guy.
I knew that would happen, and they're talking about how like
fucking anti-white grievance bullshit.
Yeah, and I mean, like, it's not even worth talking about like why that wasn't the case. But the governor didn't request FEMA. He didn't.
Governor told the people to go back. DeWine's like, yeah, we don't need FEMA.
Yeah.
So we got another fucking criminal governor, just like the one in Michigan.
Yeah.
Right? Was it Michigan? Which one was it? Was that the one with Flint?
Michigan, yeah. It was Governor Snyder.
Yeah.
And I want to say he got found not guilty, but like some other people got found guilty.
People on top are always protected.
Yeah, Snyder was. I will say Snyder, and look, I don't like Snyder, but Snyder was kind of like DeWine in that he was just shitty. He wasn't like full MAGA or anything.
No,
he was just a shitty dude, and he probably meant to do the right thing in his head. He was obviously wrong, but Snyder
never meant to do the right thing.
Snyder was not as archetypically a villain as like JD Vance, who is like literally like a cartoonish villain.
So they're trying to turn the whole thing into like Biden doesn't give a shit about you because you're white.
Yep.
Which is just again complete bullshit. Complete bullshit.
Yeah.
Trump's like, I'm gonna go down there. And Trump, let me see if I can find it. Someone like broke it down. Like he basically talks about for like 10 seconds, and then the rest is just him talking about like Trump water or some bullshit.
Well, his whole thing was only 10 minutes long.
He goes to McDonald's. There's this great clip of him going to McDonald's, and he's like, I know more about this place than you do to the worker. He's like, ooh, and he's like, what are the specials of the day? And they're like, what? For the guy who goes to McDonald's all the time, and clearly he doesn't have the app where you get fries after you spend $1. But like, I don't know. It's all like, who gives a fuck? Oh wow, he went to McDonald's. Oh, he went down there. What are you gonna do? And then someone asked him and said, "Do you take any like pretty much said, do you take any like responsibility or anything for this? Because you're the one who fucking regulated
rolled back
rolled back all the Obama regulations, and there's like tons of evidence." And he's like, "I didn't do any of that."
Yeah,
this is a fucking liar. I can't believe that lying liar lied. Well, it's crazy. Yeah. It's crazy that lying liar lied. It's like, who would have thought he would have done that?
Yeah. Well, Ohio is like the key to if the Republicans ever lose Ohio, they're fucked.
Yeah. I mean, they need Ohio for like ever.
Yeah. When Ohio falls, and it will eventually fall, they'll be done. They'll be done.
They'll never be able to win an election.
Yeah.
Because Ohio's a pretty big, and especially if it's like, okay, if like Georgia remains a blue voting state when it comes to the presidency, it's already done that. Well, did it?
I think they voted for Trump the first time.
Yeah, but the second time they didn't.
Right.
Arizona also switched.
Yep.
So
they need Ohio. I mean, like they've solidified Florida, but if they lose Ohio, then it's hard to see the math working for them.
And the thing is, Obama won Ohio twice.
Yeah. It's doable. I mean, demographically, it's weird. Like Michigan seems pretty blue, and Kentucky seems pretty red. But then you have like Ohio and Pennsylvania, Western Pennsylvania, that are like between Michigan and Kentucky.
Kentucky has a Democratic governor.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean it's a blue state at all. It's not.
Well, this goes
a Democratic governor.
That's the
all his power.
That's the thing, and it's real hard. It's real hard to like. We'll talk about this when we talk about the Marjorie Taylor Greene stuff. Like, Kentucky has plenty of real liberal areas, you know. Just like Oregon has plenty of real conservative areas. You know, I mean, like some of these states that seem tough nuts to crack are actually pretty close. I would say, like, you're never going to have Utah go liberal.
Hey, buddy, I love you.
You know, and you're never going to have, like, geez, probably the Dakotas go liberal. Like there's some places that are like tougher to crack than others. Just like you're probably never going to see California go full MAGA, you know?
Yeah. But, I mean, there's definitely super conservative parts of California. I don't think people realize that.
Yeah. Like, right.
All Northern California is pretty fucking right wing.
And it wasn't that long ago that like Massachusetts was voting in Republican governors, or
Colorado was pretty much a reliably red state for a while.
Yeah. So things are in flux, but the Republicans cannot lose Ohio. If they lose Ohio, they're fucked.
No.
Yeah. So that makes sense as to why Trump is going there. Any Republican that has any prayer of winning next time around's gotta shore up Ohio.
But I mean, like, again, I this cult of personality shit. It's like he said nothing that will improve any of these people's lives.
No.
He didn't say like, oh, we're gonna do, he doesn't believe in climate issues. He doesn't believe in science. He doesn't give a fuck. He wants to deregulate shit. He wants to make things on the cheap. He'll say it's for jobs, but that's not that. It's because he wants to keep people, he wants it done cheap so his rich buddies don't spend money, more profit. Well, and if it keeps a couple of people out there ingest, what is it, vinyl chloride?
Yeah. Well, look, these people, and we've talked about this before, and this isn't like original thought on my part, but these people grew up, or their grandparents grew up, kind of with the promise that like you will have jobs for life, because we're in kind of the Rust Belt manufacturing era, and then all that shit went away with globalization and computerization and stuff, and now they're dicked, and their drug use problem's terrible, and their unemployment's terrible, their environment's terrible. You ever drive through Ohio? Like, there's pretty parts of Ohio, but a lot of it's just like shit, I mean, it's like really tough, and they're pissed. The people that come to them selling solutions are trying to sell them hard work and sacrifice, and the people that come in and tell them like immigrants are your problem or trans kids are your problem are selling them an easy target.
Yeah.
Well, anyway.
Well, thank God Trump went to Ohio. I hope that everybody feels better. I gotta see like what he said. It was like really funny. Someone broke down like what he talked about, and it was literally just like him talking about Trump water.
Yeah.
Heard McDonald's workers in East Palestine have been able to visit the distribution center because they're at work during the business hours. Thought we should stop by and give them some cases of bottled water. This was comedy resistance, nothing to do with Trump, like progressive people.
Well,
Trump rolls back train braking rule meant to keep oil tankers from exploding near communities. September 24, 2018. Trump's tweet, I'm continuing to get rid of costly and unnecessary regulations. Much work left to do, but effects will be great. Business and jobs will grow. Again, how dumb do you have to be? You're just dumb. You're a fucking dumbass. I remember that, like watching like some of his rallies, and he would always say, like, we'll get rid of regulations, and you see all the fucking numbskulls there, like, and I'm like, who do you think these regulations protect?
Right.
You stupid fuck.
It is crazy.
He feed you tainted. He would feed you toilet bowl mac and cheese. He doesn't give a fuck. Like, he would give you lead paint for milk.
Yeah. Well,
you think those regulations are there because the government's a big bunch of meanies? No, it's there because people fought like hell to get those there.
Yeah.
All right. Well, speaking of Trump, because this is part of it, Fox Dominion, right?
Yeah, well, there's a bunch of stuff going on with Fox, but one of them is Dominion's like got their nuts in a vice in a lawsuit.
Well, isn't it like, yeah, go ahead.
Well, the thing it's hinging on, or the thing that's going to decide the case, is there is a law and there's precedent that gives news reporters a little bit of leeway when they're trying to break news stories. Meaning, like, if I said, we think that there was a shooting at this establishment and we report on it. We have reports of shots fired at like the, Duffy's gas station on the corner of whatever and whatever. And then later on, it turns out that wasn't the case. But because we said it, Duffy's lost a lot of business that night. We're inured from a lawsuit. Because like we were trying to break news in good faith. But if Dominion can prove that they were doing this in bad faith, then Fox is not protected. And it looks like they got a lot of proof that Fox was doing it in bad faith.
Well, because there's all this proof of like a lot of like the people working there saying like, yeah, we know the whole thing is bullshit.
Yeah.
We know.
Well,
Trump
that's it.
We're just trying to compete with Newsmax and OAN.
Well, Trump is kind of a king at this because he won't say Hunter Biden did this. He'll say a lot of people are saying.
Oh, people are saying, what's up with that laptop? I don't know. I mean, maybe someone should look into it.
And exactly. And at the end of it,
I'm just asking questions.
Right. And there are probably reporters that did that were like, hey, people are asking a lot of questions about the vote results in Georgia. Why did the governor win, but Trump lose? And that would have been shitty, but legal, or non-suable. But Tucker Carlson and Laura Ingraham and Maria Bartiromo and Lou Dobbs were just like straight up full out lying.
Yeah.
Like making shit up, that they knew was false. That's not protected. And apparently they can link it to Fox News itself. And everyone knew about it. No one was pulling Lou Dobbs off
Fox
the air.
News, they work for Fox News.
Right.
They represent Fox News. And it's up to Fox News' editorial board or whatever to say, like, hey, you know what? Shut the fuck up, and we're going to send you on a permanent vacation. Stop talking that. Talk about like trans people or something. Move on.
Yeah. Or release or retract it or do something.
No, just talk about something else. Like, because they'll just talk about something else. They'll just ignore it. Or you're right. They'll be like, they'll try to say it in the most legal way possible to like fudge, like, oh, we didn't mean that Trump won. We just were.
Well, they used to do that with Tucker Carlson and say like, well, he's just a comedy show. He's not a newscaster.
They said that about literally everybody on Hannity's a comedy show. This is entertainment. Right. It's not news. Yeah, they do this all the fucking time. And it's bullshit because it's like, no, you are literally a news. I mean, regardless if you're not or are, you are sold as a news program. You are like, the Daily Show, like Jon Stewart would make like those excuses kind of like, well, comedians, but like in that case, yes, he was not a source. Like you can get news.
He was on Comedy Central.
But it was Comedy Central, and it's not a source of news. It's like 22-minute show with commercials, once 4 times a week. Like that's not Fox News is competing 24-hour news channel, and then all of a sudden they're claiming they're comedy or entertainment. It's like, I don't know. I feel like something needs to be done about that. I feel like that should have been done like 20 years ago, but whatever.
Something may be done about it is the thing, and it's entirely possible that it's possible that this bankrupts Fox. Now, a part of me is like, I just don't see that happening, just the nuts and bolts of it. But shit, I mean, Dominion could win this. They probably should win this. So I don't know. I mean, like,
it's just, again, this is the kind of information that we see, but like, it's not going to reach those people who were hooting and hollering for Trump in Ohio today. Other day today, like that information about Fox lying, because they'll just say like
activist judge or something.
They'll just say, well, they have to do their job to fight the oppressive liberal agenda or something. Yeah. So like they always got something to move the ball or whatever.
Move the goalposts.
There's no point in arguing with these idiots. Sometimes you just gotta most of the time reality is you gotta hit these people where it hurts, and it's usually
pocketbook,
their wallet.
Yeah. I mean, that's
the same thing like Alex Jones. It was like, kick them off all these fucking. It's not about free speech. The guy is making millions of dollars off of lying about children and endangering their lives. One thing this man should not be allowed to do is have access to all of this ability to market himself and sell his bullshit so he can maximize his profits.
Yeah.
Well, at the end of the day, that's all you can really do is hurt their wallet, because
it works.
Yeah.
Well, the follow-up to that is that Kevin McCarthy released all the January 6th videotapes to Tucker Carlson.
Okay.
Only Tucker Carlson.
Yeah, that's a reliable source.
And I guess that the Capitol Police have been saying like, hey, if you do this, you're going to like reveal a lot of our safety measures. People are going to have access to like a lot of like secret
stuff. I don't think they give a shit, clearly.
No. So that'll be interesting. I mean, like Fox is really kind of, for a very long time, they've kind of been co-opted as like the GOP's media arm.
Not co-opted, they always were.
Yeah.
But Roger Ailes literally worked for Richard Nixon.
It is weird how brazen it's gotten. I mean,
it's always been really bad. It's just like I don't think they're almost like the reason why George W. Bush even got elected.
Yeah.
They threw off the entire night by calling it for Bush, and then like setting the whole thing off. And Fox is literally the entire existence of Fox is a reaction to Richard Nixon having to resign because of Woodward and Bernstein and all the other reporters. And they said, you know what, we're going to create our own reality. And they say both sides. What do they say? Like fair and balanced and all. It's not. It's just right-wing talking points.
Yeah.
It's to confuse and distort the news, and to create their own reality. Richard Nixon didn't steal anything from the Democrats, or he didn't break into it.
Crazy.
That's not what happened. Who's to say that? What was his opponent in 72? McGovern.
Yeah, McGovern.
Who can say McGovern's evil liberal agenda didn't break into his?
Right.
Imagine if it existed back then. There's always been some right-wing crank news.
Yeah.
But Fox, main goal is to change the conversation, and by literally just change what reporters are talking about. And the problem has always been that the other news channels have always taken the bait. Always. Speaking of, I know we don't have this on the list, but speaking of right-wing journalism, roving reporter, guy, Project Veritas guy, James.
James O'Keefe.
O'Keefe.
Yeah.
Right? James O'Keefe. He's been removed.
Yeah.
It's been found out how much he spent and everything, $60,000 for a dance theater.
Yeah, he'd get his hair done. It was just real prima donna
car
stuff.
Rides, private jet. It's just insane how much money was in this. This, like you said, it's like 2-3 kids in a trench coat.
Yep.
You're telling me they have CEOs, they have backers. It is insane. Like you have 65 and what? You have 65 employees? I thought it was just like James O'Keefe, like just
a couple staffers,
like a couple of Republican interns. This like, and it's just whenever they want to create some bullshit, they just send the actor James O'Keefe out to like make some bullshit. You know, I was like, what? You actually have like this is an actual organization? Like that's the criminal part to me. Like, you have a board? What?
Well, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it is an odd one. Have you heard anything more about the Fox lawsuit? Have you heard?
I don't know shit. You're the one who wanted to talk about this. You tell me, buddy. I'm serious. I'm like, I don't. All I know is what I heard about, like the people knowing that the whole thing was bullshit. So,
well, here's my hope. I guess I'll leave it at this. I hope they get a jury forewoman as thoughtful and deliberative as Emily Kors, who is
this woman?
Emily Kors is the forewoman of the Fulton County, Georgia, and she's the one where a lot of people are saying this is like one of the best chances for Trump to actually get put into prison. The Fulton County district attorney is like, that fucker like screwed with our elections, and she impounded the grand jury, and this woman was in charge of it.
What does that mean? Forewoman?
She doesn't have any unique powers, but like she would call for the votes, and sometimes like if it has to be a unanimous decision, she might like try to act as like a whip, so to speak, trying to like gain consensus on an issue.
So I saw some clips.
Yeah.
And she's definitely like a little goofster.
Yeah.
What could be the problem with her?
Well,
because she like, what did she outright like said some shit, right? Like,
yeah, she got out there and she's a kook. She couldn't wait to talk about this. She was any newscaster that would talk to her, she signed up for their show. And she was real coy, and she was kind of being jokey about it. And she revealed how many people they interviewed and like how many people they recommended get charged and this, that, and whatever.
Yeah.
And the danger, I suppose, is that the defense attorney could say like, this woman had an agenda. But that's hard because she's never voted before in her life. She didn't know anything about any of this before. She loved meeting Rudy Giuliani and Lindsey Graham. She thought they were awesome.
She's like a Leslie Knope type.
Yeah, but like Leslie Knope was informed as to government,
No, but Leslie Knope, when they first introduced her, is just like such a little like just star fucker.
Yeah,
like
right.
He's just excited to meet like Condoleezza Rice, that she would like regardless of their politics. So like, it makes no difference. Here's a video real quick. Trump, just so people can get like a little bit.
Yes. And so we're talking about multiple people. Yes. How many people? Was this a long list? It's not a short list. We're talking about more than a dozen people. I would say that. Yes.
Are these recognizable names that people would know?
There are certainly names that you would recognize. Yes. There definitely are some names that you expect.
Did the grand jury recommend an indictment of former President Trump?
I'm not going to speak on exact indictments.
Would we be surprised? Are there bombshells of who is indictment?
I don't think that there are any giant plot twists.
All right. Well, whatever. It goes on. She kind of makes me think of Ellie from Last of Us a bit, and like
she reminds me of Gilly from Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, Gilly. Yeah. The what was that? What's her name again?
Was it Kristen Wiig?
Yeah, Kristen Wiig character Gilly. Yeah, Gilly's like a fucked up orphan Annie character.
Yeah, she's like
do a little dance and. Yeah, that was a weird character. Yeah, she's
it's her voice.
I could see the right wing trying to turn her into like some, whatever they can do to fuck with any justice. It's like the same thing with like the FBI and going into Mar-a-Lago and then putting that hack judge in and her like just slowing down the process. And it kind of stinks. It's like, you're probably right. Like this woman, like anything she's doing is not wrong, but it's like the fact that her mere existence and the fact that she's able to talk, it's just, all it's really doing in the end is protecting Trump.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And it's just like, it's like, come on, what the fuck? This should be the easiest thing to do.
Most experts have said that she's not really going to screw up the process because that type of jury they don't charge anyone. If she was in charge of charging people, which some juries are, then they might say, like, I don't know, they might make an argument, but all this woman did was hear the evidence and say, yeah, that sounds like a crime. And then it's the district attorney's decision as to whether or not.
The right-wing news and media characters and that, they're gonna like just,
it's America. I don't have to like living in a world where Marjorie Taylor Greene's a congressperson, but here I am. You know?
Yeah, I know, but I mean, like, they're gonna run with it anyway. It's just, like I said, it's just giving red meat to these assholes. And she's just a weird little character.
She's a weirdo.
Like you just don't need that shit. That's all.
It's just if Trump does go to jail, it's going to be hilarious that this was part of the reason why.
Yeah.
And then the jury, 4 women can visit Trump in jail and say, sorry about that. Like, which was Gilly's catchphrase.
Sorry.
The
camera and like wink or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. She does like a little dance.
Yeah.
Jig.
Yeah.
I don't, whatever. I'm sure we'll see if she's a one-time only, a character appearance, or she's someone that lingers for the next couple of months.
Well, someone said that if the district attorney is really pissed, the district attorney will reach out. Like, if we don't hear from this woman again, that'll mean the district attorney said, like, if you keep this shit up, that's obstruction.
Yeah.
Because, obstruction, we always think of that as like malicious or like kind of intentional, but you can obstruct justice just by being like a dipshit. Like,
just saying the wrong thing.
Yeah, if there's like a robbery investigation at a Circle K and I start doing a TikTok dance in the middle of it, filming myself, that's fucking obstruction of justice. It doesn't matter that I'm just doing it because I'm a dipshit. It's still obstruction. It's like,
gotta do this TikTok dance. It's trending.
Yeah, so if the district attorney says, like, look, you're obstructing, your actions are like fucking with my prosecution, then that should put an end to it. And if the district attorney doesn't reach out and say that, then I guess it's not a problem.
All right, well, we'll see what happens if this is a recurring character or a one-time only appearance.
Oh, I hope it's a recurring character.
I hope not. I hope she goes away. I really don't have the mental, like, I can't handle another. I would rather it be that jelly guy from Quantumania, or MODOK. Bring MODOK in.
Yeah.
The Avenger, MODOK.
Speaking of a giant head and tiny body, Marjorie. Marjorie Taylor Greene has been like, you're right. She
bobblehead.
She tried to go normal for about 40 minutes and then
she wore a normal dress and straightened her hair for a second, said some nice things, claimed that she was never in QAnon, and then the minute Tim McCarthy took over and she got in a bunch of committees, she went, was kidding.
Yeah.
Well,
her new thing,
shit that job.
She was talking seriously about a national divorce, meaning that, like, and she even said, like, you could tell she was like trying to like tread a line. She's like, look, it would still be one country, but each state would be like basically its own.
A sitting congresswoman, pushing for a soft civil war.
Yeah, and basically saying, like, if you're in a blue state and you move to a red state, you can't vote for the first 6 years or something. Like, it was a lot
5
of like
years. You can't vote. You could work here and everything. Like, it's kind of funny. It's like a weird distortion of like the Dreamers type thing, where it's like, you come here and work here and everything like that, but like you're not gonna have citizenship.
Well,
it's like the same bullshit.
They do that.
Like, how would they like? Go ahead. What?
I was going to say they do that a lot with college students because they don't want college students voting. They make it so hard for college students to vote.
Yeah, I could see
because
that.
you
Especially in red
technically,
states.
yeah, well, like, like you could move from out of state. They don't want you voting. But even like, I remember like if I was living in Fort Myers and I went up to college in Orlando, my address would still be in Fort Myers because I'm a dependent. I'm getting this financial aid. And like, I would have to travel home to vote. Like there's a weird dynamic where they fuck over college students.
Yeah, because they know that college kids tend to vote Democratic. It's just a fact.
Right.
They do, because they have things like empathy.
The big thing, and this is right. The big thing, and this is common sense, and it makes perfect sense to me, is like a few pundits were saying, like, well, okay, let's say we have this national divorce. What makes Marjorie Taylor Greene think that it's going to stop at that? Like, if Texas said we're seceding and we're going to outlaw abortion, we're going to go full MAGA Christo fascist or whatever. What's to say that like Houston, Dallas, and San Antonio and Austin wouldn't be like, you know what? We are also seceding, and we are. I mean, like, it doesn't stop. You can't just. It doesn't work the way she thinks it's work.
I'm trying to find the actual tweet.
It's because, like, let's say Georgia decides to be its own place. Like, Atlanta's not going to want to live in like fucking Backwardsville, and Atlanta drives Georgia. You know, I mean, like, Atlanta's just as likely to say we're going to be our own independent principality or whatever. You know, we're going to be like Washington D.C. Atlanta's probably bigger than Washington D.C.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be our own district.
Well, I think it's funny too. She's going for this national divorce, but she's in a state that has
blue state.
It's not blue yet, but you do have two Democratic senators,
and they voted for Biden,
and they're both doing blue. They voted for Biden. You got two Democratic senators that are going to have full terms now because what's his face finally beat. You know, he beat Warnock. Not Warnock beat what was that guy's name again? Mushburn.
Herschel Walker.
Herschel
Mushmouth from the old Fat Albert show.
Yeah, Herschel. So you got two senators that are going to serve full terms, and I don't know what the level in Congress and everything, but it's like you're not in like deep red Mississippi here, lady.
It's a purple state. Yeah,
you're in a pretty much a purple trending blue state. Like, who cares if there's a couple of red districts? If they just keep voting, if they become like a reliably Democratic, president. I mean, it always ends up coming down to like really just who votes for the president. If they keep voting for a Democratic president, it doesn't matter if you have a governor that's a Republican, it'll still be considered like a reliably blue state. So I think it's really funny. It's like, do you know where you are, lady? I know you're in a crazy district that lets you thrive, but like.
Another thing is, well, you wonder because like one of her complaints was that Walmart puts sex toys next to children's toys. Like, what fucking Walmart are you shopping at? You know,
yeah,
I mean, like,
where, what? You sure it was a Walmart and not an Adam and Eve, or what the fuck section you go to before you go do your CrossFit and fuck Zangief from the back?
Yeah. I mean, that's Marjorie. That is a caulk gun. That's not a sex toy. You know, it's like
that's the sheet paste that you use. Ivermectin. Yeah, you know, I mean, she's a fucking joke. She's a dangerous joke. I said, it's just fucked up that like the Republicans will never she'll never face any consequences.
No,
partly scared of her. The fact that she's like one of the leading fundraisers. She's an outright January 6th apologist. She's a pro-Putin politician.
Yeah.
She pretty much talks shit. Like, she'll claim that she supports the Ukraine. She does not. Anti-vaxxer, all these things. She's a horrible person. And now she's pushing for a civil war. I'm like, first of all, what are you distracting from? Like, this isn't like, why now? You're clearly trying to distract from something big going on. There's got to be something going on, the Republicans or whatever. And you're trying to like throw like something in there. But it's just like, again, the idea that a sitting congresswoman could just go out there and call for And it's like, okay, well, Marjorie Taylor Greene, what was the original Civil War about? What do you think it was? What do you think it was? Do you think
States'
it was like,
rights.
think that's what it was? And was that the ownership of humans as cats?
Well,
Like, what do you?
yeah, it is. It's just, but even like on a nuts and bolts practical level, like it just betrays such an ignorance about how the world works. You can't unring this bell of a country. I mean, like it's not like a layer cake.
Checks in every state.
It wouldn't even be every state because like immediately
you wouldn't be able to have trucks go through to like deliveries. Like, oh, sorry, it's getting a truck got held up in Alabama because
you would have like Atlanta. Like I said, you would have
where they want to see if the truck's woke,
Yeah. But you would have if Georgia seceded, then Atlanta would secede from Georgia. That would just happen. I mean, like, what do you think the world is like?
And it's all, and again, we're gonna say this again. Hey, red states, you want to succeed from the country? Go right ahead.
Yeah.
Because it is a known fact that the red states siphon all the tax dollars. And I saw some fucking this lady. I've seen this lady, like they pretend like they're progressive and they're like, oh, because like this liberal person said like, good, I hope you guys like rob it, or whatever. It's Marjorie Taylor Greene, like or like have fun trying to like survive without state dollars, whatever. And this lady's like trying to do this like whole like shame, like, how dare you say that? There are people like, and I'm like, you know what? Like, how about you focus your anger on Marjorie Taylor Greene?
Yeah.
And instead of like the dumbass who may comment. But I'm sorry, it is objectionably funny to know that if the red states fled, they would really suffer. Like
the only blue state that's like really disproportionately reliant on the federal government, I think, is New Mexico. All the other blue states are like, yeah, you're
right. Yeah, New Mexico is one, but like mostly it's all red states that are relying on federal tax dollars that are collected by blue states. And I'm sorry that you have every right to bring it up. Yeah, okay, yeah, there's progressives in the South. We know that. But you know what? The right keeps winning. Maybe instead of getting mad at the liberal from like New York, you focus your anger and you get you change your fucking government so you're not Marjorie Taylor Greene there anymore.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't need to hear this bullshit. Like, yeah, I think it's funny. I think it is funny, like, to make that joke. I don't want anyone to suffer, but it's a fact. And I think people need to know that. Like, when some right-wing asshole in politics says some bullshit about, like, succeeding, and you bring up the fact of, like, yeah, have fun, like, trying to survive without being on the teat of the northern aggressors. Like, first of all, it's stupid. It's a clown show. And again, instead of getting angry at people that should be your like more political ally, focus your fucking anger on the right wingers that are saying this dumbass shit. I'm sick of that crap. Like, I don't think I'm better than anyone in the South. I don't think I am. I mean, maybe some, but it depends how many teeth they have in their mouth. But I mean, like, I mean, like, if you got two. Okay.
Yeah, like Alf only had 4.
Like what?
Alf only had 4.
Right, but he was from Melmac.
Right. Yes.
Melmac, Mississippi.
Melmac.
Oh, the South will rise again. Oh. I'm so sick of that bullshit though. When people like they try to like shame you for like saying anything like that, it's like, no. How about you focus your fucking energy and try to get. Try to get your kin or whatever the fuck, your local yokels to stop voting for fucking Ron DeSantis. You know what I mean? Like, it's
hard because like the Democrats clearly offer them a better economic future, but they don't see it that way. I mean,
it's like I'm talking about the people who like are supposedly left leaning, whatever, and they get mad at like other liberals. Okay, whatever. But like, how about you focus your energy on the people that are literally affecting
your peers?
Yeah. The people, like, why don't you try to, instead of like saying some bullshit to someone that doesn't live in your state or whatever, who made some dumb comment, and you're trying to like look like the hero here, you focus your energy and go and try to convert people to your side. I like, I'm so tired of that bullshit. You know, I always think that's like bad faith too. Like, wait, so you're angry at the person who pointed out a fact, and are you more angry at Marjorie Taylor Greene? Or you're more angry at the dumbass on Twitter who just pointed out, like, not dumbass,
Right.
but the person who just made like a little joke that to, and I'm sorry, that is a normal way to react to someone like Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Yeah. No, yeah.
Like, okay, I remember like Michael Moore put out some dumb thing when the state of Texas froze, and I was like super pissed. Well, one, because I was living there, but but I felt like it was very heartless. Because like, no, there are Democrats here, stuff like that. And I think, and Michael Moore should know better. I think like Michael Moore should have communicated it better.
Yeah.
But I know the point he's making.
Right. And it was a good
voting
point.
in people like Abbott. This is what you get.
It's true.
This is what you get. This is not a fucking argument. It's not really up to debate. You want this to continue, then you will keep voting for Ted Cruz.
Yeah.
You want to actually change something. Who's that guy? There's an actual there's
Colin
a guy.
Allred.
What?
Colin Allred.
Yeah, he's from like Dallas or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's thinking about running.
Yeah, he's a pretty successful congressperson. He's thinking about challenging Ted Cruz.
I think that'd be a great idea.
I think he could do it.
I think Beto is kind of unfortunately done on a national.
Yeah.
Maybe he could run something like mayor or something, or maybe he could run for Congress again if he wants to really be back in the picture. But I think we need somebody new. And that guy, I remember him now. And
I think Beto would be better as like Howard Dean had a good second life after flaming out on the campaign trail. And he went out and he does policy stuff, and he helps organize.
He was working with I think he was the head of the DNC for a while.
Yeah, he was the head of the DNC. Beto could do really well.
I'm saying I bet he could probably get back into Congress if he wanted to.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's probably real true.
But that's good. I'm glad. I think I saw Ted Cruz. I think he is nervous, actually. He posted some bullshit like, I'll always protect Texas. And it's like, dude, you got on a plane and fled the minute it got below 30. Get the fuck out of here, dude.
Yeah.
Like, you are not fooling anyone. Like, I'm sorry. Because Ted Cruz is up in 2024. And it should be literally, if you got Meatball Ron in Florida,
right,
you got fucking Cancun Ted or Cancun Cruz. Like, that needs to be brought up all the fucking time. All the time.
Yeah. I think he's got a lane there. Colin Allred has a lane that he might do well.
We'll see.
Well, we have three topics left. We have a Kyle Rittenhouse lawsuit.
Yeah.
TikTok chefs, and then we're going to talk a little bit about the end about Meta, which is Facebook, considering charging money.
Yeah.
So Kyle Rittenhouse is getting sued. What do we know about the lawsuit?
Let me see if I can find an actual. Well, he's trying to get money, begging money from people, claiming that there's a lawsuit against him. I guess he's let me see if I can find it. This lawsuit is an attempt to drown anyone who legally and justifiably defends their lives from attackers and mountains of legal debt. We cannot let them win. If they can't come after me, they will come after you. They wrote, you deserve everything I'm coming to you. Someone wrote, nice. I don't know, I never killed anyone. I don't know. Like, we're not on the same thing. Yeah, Michael Hayden said, I could see they're coming for you, but I'm not really worried about them coming for me because I didn't shoot anyone.
Right.
I can't think of a more vulgar symbol of American culture than this guy. I mean, so I guess the guy who lived and his father or whatever, I think they're suing him as they should.
Yeah.
And let me see if I can find any other details. Kyle Rittenhouse lawsuit. Let's see.
Well, he's super sad about the whole thing.
Yeah.
He thinks the woke mob is trying to silence him.
Yeah.
So
fucking I love that like he has dude, there's so many like weird little freaks that like love this guy.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a civil suit against Kyle Rittenhouse dismissed. What? Plaintiffs drops federal suit in Kyle Rittenhouse case. Are you fucking kidding me?
When was that?
January 2019. Oh, that's
Yeah, that's gotta be old
That's from
news.
2021. The fuck it. Okay. Oh, that's an old ass tweet anyway. Let me see if I have the latest. Oh, maybe I should actually spell his name right. I'm like, that got me bummed out, but then I actually looked at the date. Okay. American hero. This is from John Bissell. Hit with bogus lawsuit. Fox News. Kyle Rittenhouse, lovable scamp. Hit with chubby cherub and lovable scamp. Kyle Rittenhouse hit with lawsuit from man he shot during 2020 Kenosha clash. Little bit of a shock, said Pig Boy. A man who was shot in the arm by Kyle Rittenhouse. Yeah, shot in the arm. His arm literally had a hole blown into it because little Kyle, fat fuck Rittenhouse used to. Sorry to any other. I myself am a little chubby. So I can say those things. He used an AR-15 and blew a hole in this man's arm, literally moving a chunk. The fact that this guy even has an arm is amazing. Probably will be in permanent pain for the rest of his life, thanks to Kyle Rittenhouse. During the Kenosha riots 2020, has filed a lawsuit against Rittenhouse. He pointed a firearm at Rittenhouse before the then teenager shot. So they're going to try to claim, again, defense, even though that was after Kyle Rittenhouse killed 2 people.
Yeah.
Who's to say that guy wasn't defending himself against the murderer, Kyle Rittenhouse? This guy was shot last. You can make the argument and say that guy was defending himself against Kyle Rittenhouse, and unfortunately, he couldn't help defend himself because Kyle Rittenhouse blew a hole in his arm. I saw the pictures of it. It's disgusting. Astonishingly, the Kenosha Police Department, county sheriff, their supervising officials, and police officers and law enforcement officers from surrounding communities do not treat defendant Rittenhouse or any other armed individuals patrolling the street as a threat to safety or themselves. Fucking A. Instead,
I think
they say instead the law enforcement defendants deputized these armed individuals, conspired with them, and ratified their actions by letting them patrol the streets armed with deadly weapons to mete out justice as they saw fit. So he's also going after the police, right? Like, it's not just Kyle Rittenhouse.
Yeah, that sounds like more
as they should. Rittenhouse told Fox News Digital that he's ready to prove my innocence again in the suit. He does that because he's a hog. He goes,
right. I hope
but he said it will come with a hefty price tag. So send your money to me. Buy my NFTs. Violence. Okay. So this is something that we knew was going to eventually happen. And this kid, see, the problem is with this whole thing, I don't want to spend too much time on it. I couldn't talk about it because it is fascinating. And
okay.
Is it this fucking kid, besides doing that and really having no remorse, like he did a fake cry in the court, but it was like totally like
it was super fake,
orchestrated, and it was not even about like, oh, I'm crying because I killed people and I feel bad. It was more like just like I'm pretending to cry because this is theater. How dare they? I was defending myself. He gets away with murder on all counts, thanks to a right-wing judge. And then what does he do with that right after? He tries to make as much money as possible, goes to the events, goes on right-wing blog, YouTube shows and blogs, and makes a video game, like a turkey shooter video, sells NFTs. I love like his Twitter account. It's like, I guess that he's showing off his girlfriend or something, his profile picture. I don't know if you've seen that. It's pretty fucking funny. It's like some girl they gave him, or some like girl pretends to be his girlfriend or something.
Yeah, like an AI partner.
Yeah, a what?
Like an AI partner.
Yeah, an AI. Yeah. She's a sex doll.
Yeah. Same thing.
So, like, he deserves to get. He's profited off of this immensely, getting tons of crypto, untraceable money. Like, he's been on like constant vacations. He's been to Mar-a-Lago multiple times with Trump. This guy is.
He's been there more than Tiffany.
Yeah. See that? that weird ass photo.
Right.
And I think that might be Nicholas Sandman or something.
No, that could be. Ugh.
Because they're like buddies. The one who like smirked at a Native American or something.
So
I would say
sad.
that Kyle Rittenhouse might be worse than that guy. Just being
Sandman killed fewer people.
So like, I mean, he's just become like a full-on MAGA right-wing grifter, as we knew he would be. So I'm sorry, like he's not helping his case at all. I mean, you're clearly profiting off the deaths of your victims. You have no remorse.
Well, if that jury forewoman is a problem, you got to figure Kyle Rittenhouse is 10 times that.
Just his Twitter account.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and he goes around, he says stupid shit all the time. And I mean, at the end of the day, he did cross state lines with an illegally held gun. And
a gun that he was not the right age to be holding.
Yeah. I think the civil suit takes him apart. So,
I hope that the police also, I hope this guy gets everything. I hope he completely drains Kyle Rittenhouse of whatever money he may have.
Yep.
And then the police department also gets sued.
Yeah.
Because
I don't know if the second thing will happen, but I'll bet you this guy wins his case.
Kyle Rittenhouse deserves every bad thing to happen to him.
Yeah, true.
He is this proven to be just an absolute vile piece of shit. And anyone that defends him is a bigger piece of shit. That's just a fact.
He's dumb, uninformed, and real loud about his opinions.
Yeah.
That's a really terrible mix.
You remember like this? I remember we talked about this in the podcast, and I was thinking about this the other day. I was like doing like the litter box in my house, and sometimes I think about things. As I'm scooping my buddy shit and piss blocks. The worst of those ones that kind of get gunky, like they don't break off. They're not like perfect rocks.
Yeah, and they stick to the
Oh, I hate that.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about this lady who was it was like around the time when like all those like people were going to school boards and cause a problem, and there was like a lot of it was bad faith actors that were going. Right. And there was this one lady who just went out there and just said all kinds of conspiracies, and it was so stupid. Yeah. And she was just so matter of fact about it. And I was just thinking about, I remember when you said, like, I will never have this woman's confidence. Like this dumb, stupid person, like, has so much confidence in like, the bullshit they're saying. And I was just saying, like, that's Kyle Rittenhouse. Like, I think about that.
Yeah.
If this kid's like all of a sudden has like opinions on Project Veritas, like, what the fuck do you like? So yeah, I hope he gets taken for everything. I just think it's funny though that he's begging for money.
Yeah. Well,
I thought he was going to be an EMT. What happened? he told the lawyers, he told the prosecutors, whatever, at the case that he was trying to be an EMT.
Yeah, we'll see how that pans out.
Yep. It'll happen the same day Trump releases his healthcare plan.
Right. All
right, here we go. TikTok chefs.
Yeah.
Speaking of horrible and hideous. Okay, so there are amazing chefs on TikTok.
Oh yeah.
And then there's like a weird realm of I don't even know what the fuck this is. Like they do these like weird things, and like that chef reaction guy will watch them and be like, some of them might feel like he's just doing it because he knows it's good content.
Yeah.
Like, these are not real. Like there's some people who like, okay, are trying to make food and they just make horrible food. Yeah, like they're just bad. Like, but then there's other people who are like, okay, this is bullshit. Like I remember watching one chef reaction guy, and he's like, right out the gate, he's like, this is bullshit, because there was like a tray, and the person didn't even remove the sticker from the foil, disposable foil tray. It's like, really, come on now, you just throw a bunch of dry ass pasta in there, like it just dumping all kinds of food and cooking in it. It's like, and it's never cooked, and you always see like meats and everything. Like it's always like really bad. But then like the other day I saw one where a woman is making mac and cheese in a toilet.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah. And
it was just like, what is this? And she's just mixing it. She's like, make sure to clean it. Well, she cleans it with a sponge and leaves the sponge in the box. I'm like, okay, what is this? Why is this? Like,
to me, that's clearly a joke. Like, but it's like it started out with like the people that put a block of cream cheese and everything, and
now that's like because there's a lot of recipes like that, and that's like
Yeah.
fun, and like to make fun of it, it's funny. Or
Right.
like the fact that everyone uses like Dano, like
Right.
Dano on it, throw Dano. You know, I'm not talking about those. I'm not talking about like people who like.
You're talking about the exaggerated joke ones.
I don't even know if they're like what. Yeah, like it's like it's a huge waste of money. Like it's a waste of food. It's like it's like disgusting. There's people who like are starving, and you see these idiots like just dumping tons of ingredients in a toilet. It's like so foul. I like the video. The guy's like, "All right, well, I have to do this right because I'm gonna get kicked off if I don't."
Right.
That's amazing. I can't believe you did that. Well, you're not gonna kill him.
Chef Reacts is great.
Yeah, but then there was one today that I saw. It just pissed me the fuck off. There was like this couple. They fill up their pickup truck with like garbage bags, and they have tons of ramen, and like they're just throwing in food. And they're like, "We're gonna feed homeless people with this." And I'm like, "Wait, why don't you just like get a big pot?"
Yeah.
Like, what? And she's like got garbage bags on her feet, and she's like in there mixing. He walks on the floor with the garbage bags.
It's just so ridiculous.
The plastic line bags are not like they're not just dirty.
And I saw this one too, and like the homeless guy they fed, that was clearly like an actor.
That was like their buddy. It was so bad. He's like scooping there, like give him money, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like I hate this shit. It like bothered me so much.
Yeah.
I said I'm like whatever. Like upper class white women from TikTok need to be put on a list.
Yeah, well, I mean, with some of them, like I don't know. I see there's a big in my head. There's a big difference. Some people just put out shitty food on TikTok, and I look at it and I'm like, that looks shitty. But like sometimes it's just food I don't care for. Other times it's food I think is kind of like lower class, you know, which is like a kind of a privileged perspective.
Or they like do something stupid, like I'm gonna make nachos, but I'm gonna do it on my counter.
Yeah.
I'm not washing my hands. I'm just like rubbing it on a dirty
right.
Like, and you're just like, oh, what the fuck is this? You're not.
But those are different to me even than the one you showed me today from like the pickup truck, the garbage bags, or putting food in the toilet. Like fucking that's now you're just like I think you're trying to be funny, but it's like a little ambiguous and I don't know. It's just like you said,
like a waste of food.
There's plenty of people. Yeah, there's plenty of people that could use the food. I mean, like literally. So I don't know.
It's just gross, but I like please watch. Someone wrote Chef Reacts. Please watch it. It's like Saw, but with ramen. So thanks for linking him. I forgot. I said this would be acceptable if they weren't filming it. I said I feel like the homeless person is an actor and the food is contaminated. Trash bags that touch the street are unsanitary.
God.
Everybody's so creative.
Yeah.
You know that lady?
Yep.
That one lady goes, everybody's so creative.
She's good.
Easy. It don't go down easy.
There's some I've seen a lot of TikToks where like a regular woman will say it'll be like one of those crying noises in the background, and the joke is like, I started dinner and my daughter's like, everyone's so creative. Like right,
yeah.
Like they're starting.
My favorite too is like another thing too is like, okay, you're talking about like a low class meal. Like I saw one, it's like, you know, the whole idea is like it may, you know, just because like a food item is considered low class doesn't mean it was cheap. It's like,
right.
I'm gonna take like 8 Big Macs. I'm gonna take like all this bacon and cheese. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna dump it all in a thing. I'm like, okay, that's like $70-$80 right there. It may like, it's low class food, but it's expensive as shit. And it's like, you know, you see a lot of that crap on TikTok too.
Yeah.
Like people like, you know, the whole idea is like, here's all these ingredients, and I paid like $8 to $10 for all this. And
right.
I'm gonna do like a restaurant quality meal. I'm gonna teach you how to do that. Those are like the ones worth watching. I've seen ones where people like make like really good food from like shit they got at Dollar Tree.
I'll tell you, like
a
lot of my recipes that I like, I usually do the cooking in our house.
You put on trash bags and just cooking ramen in a bathtub.
On a sad note, no, a lot of my recipes I've gotten from TikTok, and you're right, the really good ones are like, hey, here's how you can make something really amazing for not a ton of money and with relatively common ingredients. Do you remember that guy? I forget his name, but he died. Do you remember hearing about this? This was a
TikTok that ramen that video.
No, this is the guy who would eat like shitty food, but he was like kind of a Louisiana guy, and he was like a little sloppy.
Was he a white dude?
Yeah.
He died?
Yeah, he had curly hair like a month ago. What was his name?
He's dead?
He's legitimately dead.
Always eat like tons of crazy shit, and sometimes it'd be fun to watch it because he'd just be gross when he'd be like,
yeah, he'd eat like pig's feet, and he'd like drink the juice out of like a can of beans or something. Yeah, he died.
From what?
Like a fucking heart attack. Like, yeah. And his brother came on the account like the next day and was like, hey, you know, this is true. The guy had a pre-existing condition. But it was real sad because the guy was like real happy. Like he was like kind of
he was like he wasn't really a chef. He would just try different things.
Right. TikTok eater. I'm gonna look up his name. He had like he died
from a Dollar Tree steak that he ate.
He's one Waffler 69. That was the dude's name.
I used to see that guy all the time, and I always be like,
TikTok star Waffler 69, who is known for eating bizarre food, dies from presumed heart attack. Taylor Lejeune was his name.
The last thing I see is 3-pin tweets, and then the last one, I guess, is from 110.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Eating that giant Fruit Loop from a box.
That's it. Died the next day.
From that Fruit Loop?
From the Fruit Loop. And
Are you joking?
If you click on the comments, you'll see like everyone kind of RIPing him and stuff.
Yeah.
Dude died of a heart attack. It may not have been the Fruit Loop. It may have been like the pickled pig's feet he ate the day before.
Yeah, I don't think he ate the entire Fruit Loop anyway.
I don't know, man. But like, anyway, dude died.
Slim Jim, verified Slim Jim account, said, I was just talking to me on comments. Can't believe this legend.
Yeah, he was great, and it was a little disgusting.
Slim Jim. Not a person.
He had no. It's not an actual dude named Slim Jim.
No, it's like literally the company.
Not to be confused with Slim Jim Phantom, bassist of the Stray Cats. This guy was like real fun, and anyway, I know that's kind of a sidetrack. He wasn't a TikTok chef, but he's a good guy.
TikTok food personality. That's sad.
It really is.
I used to see him all the time. I didn't follow him, but his stuff would always end up on my feed.
He had just recently come out with his own hot sauce too, which had probably also contributed to his death.
I think a lot of the foods he was eating definitely could not. I don't think he was living a truly healthy lifestyle.
No. And he had I guess, according to his brother, a pre-existing condition. So.
Yeah, it was called eating fucking rancid pig knuckles from Dollar Tree.
He did this one where he'd get like food at like Army Navy stores that's like 20 years old and eat it, and like a canned chicken or something.
Yeah, like he's got 1991 Addams Family cereal. Like he's gonna eat that seal. Like, come on now. Of course that can't be good for you. It's like over 30 years old.
Come on, Waffle.
All right, well, that's sad. But like I said, the stuff that I would see that's truly repulsive are the people that make these like bullshit meals that like are not cost effective, that are like bad stunts. They're all like the same. They always have like these amazing kitchens sometimes.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You know, they're all a bunch of like bored rich assholes, and they put out these videos, but like the one with the truck just fucking.
Well, that was awful because it was like a ton of food and it was real gross. And it was a fake homeless person.
He's like this lazy guy with a sign in a parking lot. Like, I'm just a lazy bum, doesn't want to work. And then you see him like grabbing just
handfuls of ramen. And it's like,
you guys like, oh, I forgot to bring a ladle. And then she gives like 20 and give it to him.
There's like legitimately people that are starving on the streets, you know, and it just seemed like such poor taste.
A crime waiting to happen. It's like you're filming yourself, and like you see the woman putting the bags on her feet, on the ground, like stepping into it. It's just like, wait, are you really giving this contaminated food to homeless people?
Yeah. Like, what about this is funny? What is supposed to be funny here?
It's just, it's like, I don't know if it's like punching down or it's just shit. It's fucking shit. I hope the TikTok chef react guy reacts to it. I'm sure he'll just be like, these people are disgusting. I give it a 0, whatever. But like, it's shitty. I don't know. It really bothered me. I don't know why. Like, I've seen a lot of these, but this one fucking pissed me off.
It did. It did not bother me as much as the passing of Waffler 69, which I really did. I remember when I saw that.
You can separate the two. They're not.
Yeah, but I was like pretty bummed about that.
Well, I did not know that. I'm bummed about that too. Well, I'm gonna see someone eat disgusting food and make disgusting noises when they do.
Someone will take up the mantle.
But, someone. I mean, they're like, what's the lifespan of that person?
You gotta monetize quickly. You gotta monetize.
Like, okay, there's this thing called like Devour something, and it's this couple.
Yeah.
Guy and this woman, and they always eat like these like places in New York. And I'm watching it, and they're just eating like all these like rich fried foods. I'm like, how are these people like not fat as fucking hell? I'm like, it is shit that makes like a Five Guys burger look like you're eating asparagus. And they're just chowing down on this. I'm like, are you vomiting these up immediately? Like, this cannot be good for you, like eating the shit every day. I mean, like, we're talking like just heavy types of food, like the kind of stuff that like just will make your clog your water. Like,
there's this one that was real. It was like kind of sad. I mean, this woman does a TikTok, and she does tin fish date night is her shtick. And
that is okay, go ahead.
Okay, I fucking hate fish. Tinned fish sounds 10 times worse than regular fish,
like sardines and stuff.
Yeah, so she gets out, and look, this is not like a crazy video. These are like pretty well done, unoffensive videos, aside from the fact that tinned fish is disgusting. And she gets out like a charcuterie board, like just a cutting board, and she puts like, like she gets a new tinned fish each week, like an anchovy or whatever, and she puts it out, and she puts maybe a few olives down, a couple pieces of cheese, and she's like, this is what my husband and I are date nighting tonight. But then someone eventually in the comments, and it was kind of like a respectful comment, but they were basically like, this gives depression, like depression era food. Like, you know how like sometimes like in World War II, like Spam became real popular because like we didn't have a lot of resources and stuff.
Yeah.
But it was like,
is her name Allie Hook?
I don't know. Let's see.
Tin Fish date night episode 5.
It's gotta be her. That's gotta be her.
She cooks like other food though, like fresh food. She's not just making like, it's not all like just.
All I see are the fucking tin fish date nights, and they all look gross as hell. I don't hate on her because she
like here's on her.
She's just doing her thing. If she likes tin fish, that's her call, and I'm glad her and her husband have like this.
No, you're right. It is mostly like tin fish. Yeah.
It's fucking gross as hell. Anyway, she's an odd one for me because I kind of respect what she's doing. Certainly nothing offensive about it, but it makes my stomach churn, but I can't stop watching it. I'm like, what is
would you say it's a depression era food?
Yeah, it's like, so someone commented like this feels like depression era, like
it's not good to eat that all the time. I remember like for a little while I was eating like a lot of like canned tuna.
And
I started getting like severe pains on my side.
It was fucking mercury attacking your kidneys.
Well, that's that, but like it's like processed meat, canned meats. Like it's really not. You need to be eating like, you really do need to eat like fresh fruits, fresh vegetables, fresh like meat. Like if you're having meat, like
the worst is when you're
have like processed foods and stuff like that. But like it's not good to eat that all the time.
They make that for sailors and shit. That can't like access a grocery store.
People who are living in a bunker or something.
Right. It's like what fucking Joel and Ellie eat. Like,
yeah. 20-year-old Dinty Moore stew.
The worst part about that too is like over the summer when you're in the pool, if you have like an uncontrollable urge to balance a beach ball on your nose or something, you're like,
yeah, okay.
Communicating through echolocation.
Like I said, there's a lot of like bad shit on TikTok. There's people who like a lot of bad faith chefs.
Yes, yeah, true.
Like this is a joke. It has to be a joke. It's offensive. It's disgusting. Like I said, the one with the pickup truck doing just hurt the fuck out of me on a lot of levels beyond just like what they were making.
Bad faith and kind of cruel.
Yeah, just like punching down and just like the idea of like, oh, let's make a bunch of food and help like homeless people. Okay, let's put on some trash bags. It's like the idea of like going out to a bunch of homeless people, even though it was like a fake one, with a fucking pickup truck filled with like rancid
like ramen too. It's not even like I've seen some clever ones where like it's like mostly homeless shelters or whatever will say like, hey, we had X amount of dollars and this is what we put together, and it doesn't look great, but it's like it's spaghetti and a salad and a piece of bread and like a
it's not fucking nasty ass.
And the video's like nice and everything, and when they show people accepting the food, they just show their hands. They're not like showing anyone's face or anything. Those are fine, and like that Alley Hook and Waffler 69. I mean, they're all like on that spectrum of being like kind of fun, good videos. I love that about TikTok, but those fuckers with the pickup trucks and trash cans. Anyway,
those people that rub nachos on their counter. Now let's just grab it. It's like, what, you can't use a cooking tray? Oh God, okay, I hate these people.
I saw a mom do that with spaghetti where she like put down wax paper or something, dumped spaghetti, and then poured a can of sauce over it and filmed her kids, and I always get like a little wonked out when kids are being filmed like in certain situations. And the kids are looking at it like, this, what do we do? She's like, you just eat it off the table. Isn't this fun? And the kids are like, this, why
Mom,
are you?
Mom, what's going on? Do you need like therapy?
Did you eat flour a lot lately?
Are you drunk, Mom? What's going on? Yeah.
Do you have the cordyceps virus?
Are you off your meds again, Mom?
It just was like sad. It's like, why are you? We just want to eat, man. Like we just like.
Can you just fucking make this shit in a pot? Like, what the fuck? Like.
Yeah. Well, all right. Last item. We have Meta, which is Facebook, trying to emulate the breakaway success that has been Twitter Blue.
I guess supposedly the rumor is they've been playing this a long time, but Twitter beat them to it or something like that.
Right.
So I guess Meta, Facebook, whatever, will charge. I don't know the full details. Let me see if I can find it.
You said earlier $12, and I think I've heard something similar. I don't necessarily have a huge problem with Facebook. I mean, like, honestly, Facebook might be something I'd pay for, simply because like I pay, I don't know how much I pay a year, but I pay for Amazon storage and I store all my photographs in there.
That is like a choice. I would say like, this is like a stupid social media thing where the joke was, we're the product.
Right.
He is like, So here, this woman breaks it down. Let me play this. It's only like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can.
Trendsetter. Facebook is now going to be charging for things like blue check marks. The new paid subscription service called Meta Verified will become available in Australia and New Zealand this week before expanding to other countries. Meta owns Facebook and Instagram. The cost will be between $11.99 and $14.99. Meta's CEO Zuckerberg made the announcement, and the company called it a gradual test. Subscribers will get a verified account with a blue checkmark or badge and will have direct access to customer support. Now you can sound smart by telling your friends all.
Okay, whatever.
That actually makes. I used to do a lot of advertising on Facebook. I would have 100% paid for that because getting a hold of Facebook support's a nightmare. And that would have been real nice to have direct support. And you can make money as a business advertising on Facebook. As a user of Facebook in my private life, a blue check mark means nothing to me.
Exactly.
I try to keep people away from my Facebook page. I
would consider doing this one over the Twitter one. The Twitter one was always stupid to me because I have nothing, like I'm an artist and stuff like that. And I've gotten some gigs off of Twitter, but the way I use Twitter and stuff like that, and the way Twitter operates, I don't see it truly as a way to get like income or like to sell my art or to get gigs. it's just not that's not really what the app is made for. So I always found like Elon Musk's whole thing was just a narcissism, like a selling narcissist.
Yeah.
And the idea, like, the idea of being ridiculed for paying for it, like the fake blue check mark, and it's like, oh, okay, you're a joke.
So
like,
embarrassing.
I'm gonna take you even less seriously now. Now, the thing is, with the Meta one, I would consider, because Instagram intentionally like downgrades my account. So, and I know this from the analytics. So it's like not just like, oh, I'm not getting a lot of likes on something, and the more likes you get, the more people will see it. But it's not real. That's not it. It's not like the joke is Twitter will show you like 20,000 people saw it. They have it now. It used to not. You have to look at the analytics.
Right.
Now it shows it. And I'll see like 20,000 people saw that, and I only got like 80 likes or something like that. With Instagram, I'll get like 40 likes or something on something, and only like 200 people saw it.
Yeah.
Analytics. Like, they are literally choking my fucking account. It's like, it's not. And whenever I post something out that does get reach, I'll see people always leave a comment saying, I haven't seen you in a month.
Well, I think paying for Facebook as a business owner or an entrepreneur,
I would consider it, paying for it. Maybe I would do it for like a month or two and see, like, okay, because the more people who see my stuff means I will sell more things, or I will get more gigs. I will get more portraits, sell more art. My only thing I don't.
Oh, go ahead.
I just don't want to get one of those fake ass check marks that everyone knows is like, you pay for that, loser. I would prefer the anonymity. Whatever, I'm saying the word wrong. I would prefer people like pay for it and people to not know I'm paying for it.
Yeah, that actually might be an interesting option.
And I would rather, if I have a blue check mark, I want it because I'm a known entity and I need it to protect myself. I don't want it because I paid for it.
It's hard to say how Facebook's going to roll that out. I think the notion of a blue check mark is a lot less important on Facebook than it is on Twitter. So Facebook may do it differently. It's important. Yeah, that's a good point.
It is very important, and especially when it comes to like a public figure, artist, a musician, is definitely helps. It definitely is a legitimate thing. I've seen people who've gotten those check marks, and it makes a huge fucking difference. Hell yeah, it does. Anyone that says it doesn't is lying.
Well,
and the Twitter thing. See, Elon Musk treated like the check mark from Instagram like he treated the Twitter one like it was like the way it is on Instagram.
Yeah.
And people were like, no, I'm a reporter. I have that because I'm putting stories out.
It's a quick way of seeing if it's a legitimate source.
Yeah, it's a literal verified source, you dumbass. Like, and honestly, Instagram, same thing. The whole point of it is like, hey, mom, Jim Gaffigan says that he wants to send me 20 grand on my he just needs my my Cash App account and my social security number.
Right.
Give it to him. Jim Gaffigan's a great guy. It's like, that's the check mark for.
Jay Leno needs more nudes. Jay
Leno needs more nudes. That's a weird one.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I agree. I think.
Hey, man, need some more. Send me some of those nudes.
I don't think that's a bad idea at all to consider doing that. And to be honest, the way I use Facebook, I'm not going to pay for Facebook, but like the way I use Facebook,
I would never pay for Facebook.
I would be more likely to pay for Facebook than Twitter. Like Facebook has a bunch of shit I want to keep.
I have a business page on Facebook, so because I have a Rob Israel art account, and that's an art page.
I'm just saying, like,
that would make sense, but for like my Facebook account, fuck no, I wouldn't pay for that.
I have a bunch of photographs on Facebook. A bunch of like people I know have tagged me in like old photographs that I don't really have access to. I've never gone back and like saved them all to a hard drive. I don't think
that's gonna help you in that case. I think the whole thing they're selling is just like more protection.
Oh, yeah. I'm just saying, like, if Facebook suddenly said, hey, to get on Facebook, we're charging like $2.99 a month or whatever, I'd probably do it.
Yeah.
Frankly, I probably would.
Like I said, it's the thing I don't like about it though is the bullshit of like, oh, we promise more security. It's like, wait, isn't that what you're supposed to be fucking doing? It's like when you find out like a bank and they're like, they try to get you to like up and you're like, wait, why am I putting my money in? Like, I'm not going to pay you more. Like, I'll just go to a different bank. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, that's bullshit. Like, if I'm using Instagram or Facebook, you better be fucking protecting my information. That's why I like Twitter now. I'm like, fuck, who the fuck knows what's going on Twitter? It's like a wild mess now.
That Ben Collins, the reporter, tweeted about this, and I looked it up. And there is an Italian philosopher that has this theory, or he coined a term called disruptiano. And it is basically the process of the wealthy essentially taking over the infrastructure, breaking it or letting it go to hell, and then saying that, of course, this shit goes to hell. We can make it a little better if you're willing to pay. And then basically selling what used to be free to everyone to the very wealthy.
This is like shock and awe. When it comes to like when something horrible
see examples of it everywhere. Like I remember in Florida, we had really nice interstates, and then they became toll roads, and then the toll roads got sold to private companies, and the private companies started jacking up the tolls, and the next thing you know, you had shitty roads that you paid a lot for. And it was like, this used to be free. Like, what happened? Like, how you just the state sold away the rights to make money off a road my taxes paid for. I mean, it's just crazy that people tolerate that shit. But
what is it called?
Disruptiano.
Disruptiano.
There's a Twitter account called Italian Elon Musk. I think it's the name of the
I've
account.
seen that one. That's great. Yeah, he just has a
he's like, I make a new fruit. I call it the tomato. Disruptiano.
No, I know exactly what you're talking about. I mean, listen, they're just rolling it out. We'll see, but like, they always have like these stupid ideas and shit like that. Like they originally wanted to like hide likes, and I think now they give you the option if you want to do it, which depending on the post, I usually do hide them. It depends on the post, but like I said, if there is a truly beneficial, like all of a sudden 4 times the amount of people are going to see my work because I'm paying it. For me, it is. I know my art sells. It only sells though if people see it.
If people see it,
and if no one's seeing it, I'm not selling anything. It's really simple. It amazes me. Sometimes I'll post and I'll get these like assholes. And I end up always blocking them, and they're like, "What are you fucking clicking?" And I'm like, one, I'm not talking about me. It's like other artists agree they're going through the same thing. It's like if no one sees my work, I don't exist.
Right. It's like my Ford F-150 ramen business, but it needs visibility. If I'm slopping handfuls of ramen out of the bed of my truck, if people aren't seeing me, I'm not selling my ramen.
Garbage bag ramen. My giant industrial sized garbage bag ramen.
We sell 2 sizes. We sell kitchen and yard. So those are the 2.
Well, in all seriousness, like I said, I would consider this. It seems a little pricey, but like again, for my business and like that, like if it meant like increasing the amount of people seeing it, and I did get like even just 1 extra gig a month, it would be more than worth it. Like,
easily.
It would be, and I would write it off as a tax write-off because it would be a cost of business.
Yeah.
I don't like doing it. I'm annoyed. I don't trust them.
No, but like, I mean, that makes sense. It's like paying for a stall at a convention or it does make sense. It's not like a weird thing. Well,
like I said, I think the reality is, and we'll wrap this up. The reality is that I think social media as a whole is starting to collapse.
Yeah, it feels that way.
Companies have proven to not be profitable to their boards, and they're trying to come up with any way to get, it's like they gotta like, it's like they have boards and they have to like constantly impress them. That's why, like, the joke is they said Elon Musk can like in theory go to jail for lying about the cars being able to drive themselves.
Yeah.
He like outright lied. He said this in 2017 that the cars are going to be driving themselves, and they can't.
Yeah.
He does that though. That's why they're like they were talking about like Tesla stock going up to this insane amount. They're like, do you think that just went up on its own? No, it's because he fucking lied. He made all these false promises of like all the stuff that they can do, and they have not proven and any of them.
Yeah, and you can't do that. That's illegal. So, yeah.
Seems to get away with it.
He does. Disruptiano.
Hey, I'm making a disruption.
I'm making the flying car. Disruptiano.
Speaking of, real quick, last thing. Speaking of that, it made me think of the Super Mario Super Show.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so there's a movie coming out called The Super Mario Brothers, a CGI movie. I mean, I've seen the previews. I guess it got a lot of flack because Chris Pratt's doing the voice.
Yes.
An odd choice, but whatever. I heard it. He's
fine. Yeah, he's good.
Fine, whatever. But in the Super Bowl, they played the original theme song of the Super Mario Super Show from like the 80s that started Captain Lou Albano. Famous, you know who that guy is?
Yeah, he was Cyndi Lauper's manager.
Well, he was also a WWE. He was a WWF wrestler.
Oh, that too, yeah.
He was an evil manager. I always loved the evil managers. He
was Cyndi Lauper's dad.
Yeah. Yep. He's in a lot of the videos. He's in the Goonies videos too. Mm-hmm. But then all of a sudden, like I remember watching like Saturday morning or after school, the Super Mario Super Show comes on. And Captain Lou Albano is Mario, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Weird.
It was weird because it was like, hey, it's Mario, but it's still Captain Lou Albano. And I always thought, like, I always think about it to this day, like what an oddity it is, and it's like what I like to call that, like, a company not having control of their businesses yet. Because I would imagine today they would never cast anyone like a former carny like that's a little bad. But there's this amazing clip. So I saw the commercial and I was like, I want to draw them like a shirt or whatever of them as Mario. There's like this other actor who's Luigi and how they looked, and I want that to be like the face of Mario. And then like someone that follows me sent me a link to a clip, and it is like the fucking. Originally, I had the artwork, and it just said Super Mario Super Show, and then he sent me this clip. I just want to play it. Hold on.
Use drugs is not your friend. Drugs can and will kill. Remember, don't be afraid to turn to your priest, your rabbi, your minister.
Let me start that over. It's important that you hear it straight from the beginning. Okay.
Anyone that asks you to use drugs is not your friend. Drugs can and will kill. Remember, don't be afraid to turn to your priest, your rabbi, your minister, your moms, your dads, your teachers, because drugs can kill. And if you do drugs, you go to hell before you die.
So wise.
Mom, Mario said I'm gonna go to hell.
So wise.
Right. What?
So wise.
You go to hell before you die, kid. Now go play your Super Mario game. I love it. I was like, that was on TV.
Yeah.
And that guy was on all kinds of. That guy was on 3 different kinds of painkillers, speed, whiskey.
Yeah. He was basically just like doing whippets behind a dumpster.
Hey, Mario, we need you. I mean, Captain Lou, we need you to come out and.
Captain Lou, in what branch of the service did you get your captainship?
Hey, Captain Lou, we need you to come out and do a PSA about drugs.
Right.
You have your Mario uniform? I never took it off. I've been wearing it for the past 3 weeks.
All right.
Do you have a script for me? No, just just see what you're gonna say.
Speak from the heart.
Speak from the heart. It's like you want kids not to do drugs. Oh, okay, I got this. Go to hell before you die. Awesome. I love it. No one will know what it's like to grow up in the 80s.
No, different time.
No, right? Like just the Wild West of like.
It was. Yeah,
cool.
It really was.
Well,
All right.
Well, on that note, I'm Rob Israel.
I'm Joseph K.
You still going on about
that?
Thank you for listening to You Still Going On About That. Please like, comment, share, and if you haven't done already, please follow us on Instagram, YSGOAT, Facebook, YSGOAT, and Twitter, YSGOAT. Thank you, and have a great day.